In the world of NASCAR this weekend, we are celebrating champions. For this week, for the Midwest Sim Racing Association Premier Series, we crown a champion tonight. 4 drivers who have done everything in their power to take on these highly difficult and challenging races through a grueling 36 weeks have come down to just one race. As we say good evening and welcome to Podium Esports coverage of the championship finale for the 2021 Midwest Sim Racing Association Premier Series playoffs, as we bring you coverage of the season finale 225 presented by Fantastic Sam's of Thornton, Colorado, live from iRacing's virtual Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. Good evening, I am your host, Taylor Burris. Alongside me is Terry Radford and Briar LaPrade, with, of course, on Pit Road, Strict Pulsatrix. Our producer tonight is Ryan Bauer, who is using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Gentlemen, 4 drivers battling it out for a championship. You have the 96 of Boyd Hogan from Legacy Esports. You have the 24 of Vincent Arthur, the 51 of Ralph Hutchinson, and the 12 of Clayton Hoffman, who have challenged and fought and clawed their way into a race that is going to prove interesting but very exciting to round out the season. Terry, I want to come to you first. You've seen some of these races. Your thoughts on these 4 drivers who are trying to fight for a championship here tonight?
Well, these 4 drivers have made it through the grueling schedule that the MSRA guys have put there for them. And the thing is they made it to this point by consistency, by winning. And for Boyd Hogan, he's done it by sheer dominance. I figured I would break in the championship stuff. I've got the University of Tennessee on 1999 champions, 98 champions. The Atlanta Braves right underneath it. You know, they just won a World Series, and who cares? And I figured I would break this out because, you know, you can't be the champ unless you got the World Heavyweight Championship. I got the Queen playing in my ear. We are the champions. Tonight, somebody's going to be cracking bottles. Not crapping. That would be awful. They might be crapping tomorrow if they drink some Cristal. I got the champagne on ice. Let's get this party rolling. Taylor, it's going to be one heck of a show, and what a way to end it in the brand new Phoenix.
It certainly is. And Briar, I want to come to you on this. A brand new laser scan track of Phoenix Raceway. We're used to running on the older 2012 configuration, which has been on the iRacing service for quite some time. But what does this new track configuration layout the week basically before we actually get to race at this track here tonight? What are these drivers thinking, and how are they going to be able to tackle this unique track layout?
Yeah, definitely. They had some time to prepare for this one with a new update coming to Phoenix on the iRacing service. This one feels a lot different than the older Phoenix that we had on the service. The eNASCAR Road Pro Contender Series actually just came here. I raced this long 200 laps. It was fun, honestly. I had a blast running. It feels just like, or looks just like how they race in real life here. Down in turn 1 and 2, you got sort of an imaginary like PJ1 line or resin line that they got. The drivers are going to be looking to be running up higher in the grooves. Turns 3 and 4, you're going to be hugging that yellow line. Probably, I think later on in the race, we might see some people move up slightly up the track, but we'll see as the race goes on.
We certainly will see how the race goes on as we get to take a look at this beautiful layout as we see the playoffs coming up on your screen. It started off with 16 drivers until we whittled it down to those 4 drivers we mentioned in the outset. Boyd Hogan, Vincent Arthur, Ralph Hutchinson, as well as Clayton Hoffman. Out of those 4, one of them will be claimed the 2021 MSRA Premier Series champion, and they have to make sure they tackle it at this circuit. The Phoenix Raceway, which is a beautiful circuit, opened in 1964. This 1-mile layout has a little bit of interesting situation for it. On turns 1 and 2, which used to be the old 3 and 4 back in the older layouts, is about 10 to 11 degrees progressive banking, but we'll see drivers utilizing every inch of asphalt on this circuit, including the front straightaway where that dog leg is. And Terry, that's where a lot of chaos could possibly ensue, especially on the restarts.
Yeah, you don't know who's going to use the dog leg and who is going to use it. So as you're going through the field and you see them start to fan out, everybody's going to take advantage, especially in qualifying. the dog leg's going to be important tonight. That could be what crowns and what takes a championship away.
It certainly is, and we will now give you your starting lineup for tonight. And on the pole is from Nexus Esports, Logan Helton in the 63. Your first championship competitor, Boyd Hogan from Bobby D. Earnhardt Legacy Esports, will be starting in second place. In third position will be Liam Sheen in the 55. From Reaper Speed Lab, Braxton Deweese, and then from Davis Motorsports, Brandon Davis rounds out your top 5. Jerry, what do you see outside the top 10?
You got Vincent Arthur back there in row 4 with Chris Severa, John Theodore, Ralph Hutchison, Joseph McWhorter, who had a very interesting interview last week that was very good to check out, and John Mullins will be rounding out row 6.
Row 7, you got Stephen Davis, Tommy Gossett. Row 8, Zach York, Jacob Shorba. Row 9, Dylan Irviton, and Christopher Hill.
That will be your 18-car lineup here for tonight's race. One car did not qualify. That is the 99 of Christopher Hill. Here is your temperatures for today. It's a clear, beautiful, sunny day in Avondale, Arizona. 86 degrees is the air temp. Winds 5 miles an hour. But that track temp right there, Terry and Breyer, 98 degrees. It's going to get hot. It's going to get very slick for these competitors. Breyer, what type of adjustments do you think they can be making in order to be prepared for these increasing heat temperatures?
Definitely going to need to make some kind of adjustments to be ordered to hold on and keep the rear tires on it. It's going to be slick out there, like you said. We got 225 long laps. Stage 1 is going to be 40 laps. Stage 2, 65 laps. Final stage is going to be 120 laps. You get 5 sets of tires in the pit, so it's going to be interesting to see how they use those 5 sets. And obviously we have 3 green, white checkered temps here as we're rolling off, getting ready to start this one.
Well, as the field is working their way around the circuit behind the iRacing pace car, we're going to turn down to our pit reporter, Trick Pulsatrick, down there. And what can we learn from maybe some of our championship competitors?
Well, before the race began during practice, I picked the brains of some of the people who were driving. And what I had heard from multiple drivers was actually that tire wear is going to be a very important factor to them, specifically in the right rear, and very specifically once it comes to dirty air. Dirty air is going to be very important here. You want to get as clean as possible.
Well, we will see who will survive as 4 drivers battle it out for a championship. Green flag is out, and we are underway here for the season finale at Phoenix. Field working their way already 4 wide down the front straightaway as they enter into turn 1. Logan Helton will lead the way, but Boyd Hogan on the outside will try to make it stick, and he will take over the race lead as they come out of turn 1. But Helton will power back on, slide in second place as they work their way down into turns 3 and 4 for the first time. It is Boyd Hogan, then Logan Helton, then Braxton Deweese, your top 3. Lap number 1 completed. Helton, though, will battle back on the inside.
It's interesting to see how low he went right there through the dog leg. And for Boyd Hogan on lap 1 to go to the outside, he messaged me this morning and said, man, I really hope my interview last week didn't make me seem cocky. And I said, dude, you can be whatever you want to be. You can say whatever you want to say. You've won 6 in a row and you're racing for a championship. Nobody's going to have to strut like him and Conor McGregor. And tonight, he takes it on lap 1 against the pole sitter. He's starting to pull away.
Boyd Hogan with that Legacy Esports Chevrolet trying to be able to pull away as he works his way through turns 1 and 2. Pretty much no major battling. Everyone's single file here. And Brian, I want to come to you while we're watching these drivers battling it out. The opportune time to pass, it's so difficult when the tires are fresh for some of these drivers. Everyone's a little bit even out for the most part. When do you think we'll start seeing some of those drivers utilize their tires as well as managing them when we start getting into a longer run?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see a good amount of laps turned here before they start making moves as we're on board here with Joseph McWhorter. A little slidey loose there coming off turn number 2 underneath Jacob Shorba. But it's going to take a little bit for the tires to come in. With the tires being fresh, it's going to be a little bit difficult to pass. As the run goes on, though, you'll start to see the differences in the setups these drivers have brought here to the Phoenix Raceway and see which ones prevail on top later on as the run goes on.
Certainly is indeed, as just McWhorter in that 32 is now slotted back into the 12th position. There you see one of our championship competitors, That is the 24 of Vincent Arthur from the Great Lakes Motorsports team and from Manchester, Maryland. He's already gained 1 position, and there you see some of his results from the past 3 races. Not the best run he was hoping for at Martinsville, but it did guarantee him a shot to battle it out for a championship as he works his way off of turn number 2, keeping a steady hand, trying to stay focused and hunt down his next competitor, which is his championship rival, Clayton Hoffman.
Well, he kind of struggled there, and Huffman didn't. Huffman had a decent running. He had a good showing to lock himself in stage number 1 last week at Martinsville. But for Vincent Arthur, he kind of fell behind the 8 ball. He fell back early in stage 1, wasn't able to capitalize on it, but as stage 2 came, he already had enough points accumulated through the entire season. And that's what was important here with the body of work that they did. Boyd Hogan suffocated the competition with just constant wins. So it was weird for these 3 to be here chasing the guy with 0 wins whatsoever in the playoffs to lock themselves in for that round. And for them to lock themselves on points just shows the body of work they did. But for Hogan, I mean, he's already walked away with a 0.2 of a second lead. He's starting to work on it more, but his championship competition, Huffman's moving up to 4th.
Huffman has moved up to the 4th position right now, so looking at your champ, Hoffman has moved up another spot, which will help him try to close the gap between him and Boyd Hogan, but he's still got a long ways to go. He currently sits about 1.1 seconds back from your race leader as they work their way off of turn number 2. There you are on board with Chris Severa in the 62 down the back straightaway as they enter turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, down on out of 3 and 4 air side-by-side battle with the 64, and couldn't catch who that was there, but Jacob Shorba on board with him, going through the dog leg, working his way, trying to work him over. John Mullins in the 64, see what kind of line he's taking. Looks like the higher side is going to prevail here. He's going to get up and sort of the imaginary PJ1 I was talking about and be gripped up off the corner as we go on board with Joseph McPorter, who's running the VR headset as usual. We got a lot of VR headset users in this league that I've noticed. Good little trend that we got going on there. Started 11th, currently 10th, working his way up.
He has definitely worked his way up inside the top 10. If you notice above our little bit of our grid or lining up right now, you'll see the championship 4, and it will show you where they are currently running on the track. There you see Hogan, of course, your race leader. Hoffman is in 4th, Arthur is 6th, and then Ralph Hutchinson is in the 9th position. So that will showcase wherever they are on the track in order to show you who is leading the championship and who needs to try to find every which way they need to gain. And also you'll see the championship contenders highlighted in green on the timing and scoring sheet as you see as it goes across the top of the screen.
Well, I'm noticing the lap times over here. I've been paying attention to the live timing. Boyd has been one of the faster guys on the racetrack, but Ralph Hutchinson back there in the 9th place position, the 51 has some speed, but I think what Breyer alluded to earlier in the broadcast, and a couple people messaged me throughout the day and said, I don't want to be in dirty air. It's the one thing I don't want to be in, because once you get back there, it begins to be a little harder to pass. We talked about earlier too, with Strix when he did the pit road, the tires are going to wear out harder in the dirty air back here. So for them to get up front, and especially for Hoffman and Hogan, they're up there, they're kind of chilling out by themselves, not really worried about all the cars. But look, Hutchinson's having to make moves that he shouldn't want, or he doesn't want to make lap 14 of this race, but he's got plenty of stages to make his way up there as he's side by side with the 91 of Brandon Davis.
Great battle right there, but he needs to try to find a way to get around him so he can go and catch up to Vincent Arthur as they will be side by side off of turn number 4. Coming across the line, Ralph Hutchinson in the 90 or the 51. There you also see Brandon Davis in the 91 as they'll go side by side heading down into turn 1. The 91 of Davis on the outside lane. He gets washed up a little bit more, but I think the momentum will help him. But Hutchinson on the inside, still maintaining as he's going to stay side by side entering turns 3 and 4. Great racing battle between these two.
Great battle as we go on board here with Logan Helton in the number 63 next to C Sports driver. It's good to see speed out of him. Past couple of weeks he's been struggling. Texas and Martinsville wasn't too friendly to him, but he looks like he's doing great this round, holding on to Boyd Hogan there, not letting him get too far away. Same thing with Braxton DeWeese behind him, running in the 3rd position. Haven't seen too much speed out of him, but now he's got it together and running well so far.
There you see the Reaper Speed Lab Chevrolet from Miamisburg, Ohio. There you also see his last 3 races of where he finished. Really good runs for him as he has gained 1 spot since the start of today's race. Of course, a 4th, an 8th, and a 7th. So decent runs for Braxton as he being a rookie to the series. I remember making his debut at Bristol where he put on an excellent performance during that race as he's trying to now hold off the 12 of Clayton Hoffman from Cookeville, Tennessee. The Rocket Racing setup driver trying to see if he can get around him and gain an extra spot on his competitors.
Yeah, I love seeing people from Tennessee, especially from Cookeville. Great place to play high school football, especially the championship rounds are normally played there. But Hoffman's doing everything that he can do right here. I mean, I've been watching his lap times consistently, and he's running 27.6s, which is only about a 10th off of what Boyd's running, but he's close to what the 2 in front of him are running. He's actually faster than Logan Helton, and he's right on top of what Braxton DeWeese has been doing. So to see him wanting to work his way to the front, I think he's about a couple adjustments off, maybe an air pressure adjustment or maybe just a slight wedge adjustment. I think he's going to be just fine to find just a 10th more speed in that number 12 machine to go give Boyd a run for it.
He certainly is, as you're on board with the Ground Zero Racing of Joseph McWhorter, who is trying to still battle on against, of course, Brandon Davis. I believe Jacob Shorba was able to get around him for that 10th position, so move him back to the 11th, but still will battle on as here comes Shorba in the number 30 to the inside of Joseph, and now tries to see if he can gain this position, still side by side. Christopher Hill not too far behind as well in the 99 Toyota, as they work through turns 3 and 4. And right there is where you'll see the start-finish line. Interesting area where it's almost somewhat just a few hundred yards off of the corner exit of turn number 4, which for you, Briar, when racing at this circuit can provide a little bit of interesting scenarios when battling for position.
Yeah, it definitely brought an interesting finish there to the eNASCAR Road Pro Contender Series last Tuesday night. Started wrecking coming off turn number 4 coming to the white flag, and it went all the way around the track because of how the start-finish line is placed. Just a lot of aggressive driving there as we still have a battle between these 3 going through turns 1 and 2. It's going to be tough to pass, but I think about this time is where you're going to see differences in the setups. As Vincent Arthur shut the door there, and Chris Severa, that was very close there. Don't want to take the risk too early being a championship Ford driver, but you got to do what you got to do. Lap 22, making ground there, Vincent Arthur.
Vincent Arthur is now under pressure from Ralph Hutchinson, as well as he has got to the back bumper of the Vincent Arthur machine of that Great Lakes Motorsports number 24 as they work through turns 1 and 2. As they come off of corner exit, he is currently trying to find a way around the 55, the JDR Graphics Ford Mustang of Liam Sheen. As you see on there, your timing and scoring, Sheen has about a 2/10 of a second advantage, but here comes Hutchinson to the inside of Arthur, side by side as they enter turn 1 and 2. Let's see who comes out on top. Arthur with the outside momentum will be able to maintain position, but Hutchinson with the better line through the middle of the corner was able to keep right on the back bumper of that Chevrolet Camaro.
I've been interested to see what these guys have been doing, especially the championship racers. You saw Arthur, he made a very bold move to close the door right there on Chris. But you see the outside lane prevailing, and with the hotter temperatures, I would have thought that they would have migrated themselves just a little bit lower to not tear up the tires or to slide them off exit. But you see what the 24's been doing. He's been right up against the outside wall, trying everything possible. You know, that's disaster waiting to happen if he was to get loose. That's a very small margin for error. If he was to get that car sideways, he's super close to the wall. But Ralph Hutchinson's doing a great job keeping it side by side with him as they go through what is now 1 and 2.
Certainly is. Of course, right now the track temperature has gained about 2 degrees, 100-degree track temperature as we are approaching 1 o'clock in sim time here as they work their way off of turn number 4. So the implications of these tires are going to get even more difficult to handle as the heat builds up. Briar, that's going to provide a little bit more interesting situations, a lot of slipping and sliding for some of these drivers who don't have the best.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. We got Logan Helton here 2/10 faster last lap than Boyd Hogan, who's leading. I'm not sure if Boyd's just trying to keep pace and save us stuff to go to the end of this stage here, or if Logan Helton's really showing some speed here. I'm sure he'd like to cap off this season with a win. But the guy who's really showing speed, I think, Ralph Hutchison, showing a lot of speed early on. Just tough to pass, tough to maneuver through the field. Looking good so far as we go on board with him coming out of turn number 2. Trying to work over Vincent Arthur. A little loose there coming off turn number 2, but looking good so far from 51 Machine.
Other than Boyd Hogan, he has the second fastest lap time inside the top 10 right now. So a very strong performance by that 51 Ford Mustang as they come across the line. And last time by, Logan Helton, about a little bit faster than your race leader, Boyd Hogan, has dropped another 10th off. It's now down to 4/10 of a second between your top two as they work back into turns 3 and 4. There you see on screen the battle for 5th between Sheen, Arthur, Hutchinson, and Severa. 4 cars battling for that one position as Arthur will go to the outside, try to see if he can build some momentum, but that may open the door for Hutchinson, but Arthur thinks better of it. Severa in the popcorn position, ready to capitalize on any mistake.
And this is crucial for these two right here. You know what you have ahead of you. You know that you can, if you make it to the end of the stage, you get an opportunity to make an adjustment to your vehicle, and you can potentially go up and do a little bit more with it. And as the race progresses, you'll see the aggression pick up. But for the championship drivers, if I was them, I would just be as patient as possible. You see on board with Ralph Hutchison, he is focused. He's laser focused right now, knowing that, hey, I'm sitting in the 7th place position, but this is kind of where I wanted to be. You know, stay off of people's radar, and at the end of the day, if he's just making quiet adjustments, Boyd Hogan's probably not going to make any because he's fast. He's been up there leading all these laps. But for the guys 4th, 6th, and 7th, they could throw the kitchen sink out of it just to win it. Oh, big wiggle by the 24.
Big wiggle. Breakaway right there for him, right, as we work his way back into turns 1 and 2. He will get that position away from Vincent Arthur. Beautiful pass by Ralph Hutchinson.
Beautiful pass there by Ralph Hutchinson in the 51 Machine as he sets his sights on the 55 JDR Graphics Ford Mustang of Liam Sheen. Good to see Liam running. Seems like a good fella for the times I've raced him, talked to him, all this and that. But currently 5th, started 3rd, fell back, 2 spots probably towards the start there. As Boyd Hogan and Logan Helton has taken off. But yeah, beautiful pass there, as we said, from Ralph Hutchison, starting to work his way forward. Good speed out of that 51 Machine in the championship 4. Boyd set the pace, though. Logan Helton doing his best to hold on there. I think as he closes in more and more on Hogan here, he might get a little bit of a dirty air effect. He's going to have that little bit of a quote-unquote bubble, as we call it, in the service, where it's going to start to get a little tight there on the nose, and that's probably what he's dealing with there. Got to figure out how to maneuver around that.
You see him sawing at the steering wheel on screen as he is trying to get himself set up and try and break that bubble and try to see if he can get a little bit closer. It's now back to 6/10 of a second here as we're closing in on about 5 laps left to go in stage number 1. As you see, your top few drivers, as the caution is out here for the first time, the 26 of Dylan Herbaden is around on the back straightaway. He will take a tow and get back on pit road as we will take a look at the replay here. See, he works his way through turns 1 and 2. Nice job trying to battle on with the 49 of Zach York. Does he just loses it off corner exit? No. Looks like he just loops it around in the middle of the straightaway.
Maybe he was just trying to save it. I mean, you see he kind of stepped out just a tad bit. He's coming through the corner, and as he gets off exit, he starts to get a little loose right here. You can see him playing just a tad bit with the throttle. Gets loose, tries to gun it, can't do it. There it goes.
Yeah, a little slip there on the exit. It was a slow, lazy slide, it looked like, trying to gather it back up there, but we'll move on from that. We got the leaders down pit road here. Boyd Hogan leading them down pit road. A little bit of an interesting pit road, a little different from what the old version was. Taking a little bit different route, I would say. A little bit sharp turn down pit road. The drivers are going to shortcut the pit road as much as possible. Not sure if there's a pit road rule or anything like that, but Boyd Hogan entering his stall here. I would assume 4 tires for most of these drivers, but we'll see what happens here.
And as we go to that, we will go to our pit road report presented by Capital Auto Group. Strix, what do you see down on pit road?
What we're seeing right here on pit road is a lot of drivers taking fuel and all 4 tires. At this stage of the run, a lot of the drivers are complaining about dirty air causing the car to be tight on entry and super loose on exit. Not anybody really deciding not to go with tires here, because at this point in the race, around 40 laps, you're going to want new ones.
Certainly is. And of course, that is your Capital Auto Pit Road Report. And of course, Capital Auto Group is based in Salem, Oregon. Capital Auto Group is a car dealer that will meet and exceed your high expectations each and every time. Their experienced sales staff is eager to share its knowledge and enthusiasm with you. You can browse inventory online, schedule a test drive, and investigate financial options. Visit Capital Auto Group online at www.capitalauto.com. Field now back out on the race circuit as we are getting ready to go back green flag racing. As we have just now gotten confirmation, and Boyd Hogan will be your stage 1 winner, presented by Shorba Racing Graphics. SRG offers great services at affordable prices with iRacing paints, logos, numbers, and even t-shirts. $5 from each sale are donated to the Midwest Sim Racing Association end of season prize fund. Visit them on Facebook at Shorba Racing Graphics. Boyd Hogan, of course, is going to be your winner. And now later, when we go back green flag racing, Taylor Burris here along with Terry Radford, Briar LaBrad, and of course our producer Brian Bauer, with cameras provided by Dougie Beard and Strict Pulsatrix down on pit road as the field works their way through. It is time to go back green flag racing here in stage number 2. Field now going to go wide by side right here as they head down into turn 1 as they work their way through. Helton trying to battle on against Braxton DeWeese as they work off turn 2 down the back straightaway. The Reaper Chevrolet versus the Nexus Chevrolet, and DeWeese will get the position ahead.
And teammates, he worked his way on the outside, did exactly what Boyd Hogan did on the initial start, got to the outside, kept the foot in it, and was able to make the power move on the outside for Logan Helton. He goes back one. Big championship implications here. You start to see the people fall back. You got the 12 right here of Clayton Hoffman. He stayed in the position he is. Ralph Hutchinson jumps up a position. So did Vincent Arthur during that round. So everybody's starting to move their way to the front as there's a battle for second. Here comes Logan Helton.
Helton on the bottom. Ooh, trouble right there for DeWeese. He's going to hit the wall off of turn 4. That will open the door for Logan Helton along with Clayton Hoffman as they'll go side by side. DeWeese gets a little bit loose in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Move Hoffman up one more position into third now as he sets his sight on Logan Helton.
Definitely has a sight set on Logan Helton. He's one step closer to getting to the back bumper of Boyd Hogan as he's looking off of turn number 4. He's going to dive down low, cut the dog leg as much as possible. See if he's going to throw a slider going into turn 1 maybe. Not quite. Logan Helton running really up high by the wall. I think he just let him by there. As respect, as we got trouble in the back. The 49 of Zach York around. Not sure if he got any damage there, but slides down below the yellow line there coming off turn number 2. We'll get a replay here shortly. Let's see what we got. 3 wide going into turn number 1. Close racing. Oh, bounced up on the left rear. Good job to not hit the wall there. Oh, almost contacted the 92 of one of the Davis brothers there. Close stuff there, but good thing to keep it off the wall and not get any damage from that.
Let's take another look from the angle of John Mullen from the Canterbury RV 64. I think there's the contact right there between York as well as John Theodore in that number 27. But a great job of Zach York to not make any contact with any of the walls or other drivers. I think it was a little too close for comfort, though, there, Terry, with Stephen Davis as he saw what happened in front of him.
Yeah, it just, if in a blink of an eye, you look and you see it and you think, oh, man, I'm going to miss it. And I would be cheering him on. I mean, look at this incredible save. He comes down. He's going to keep it off the wall. It was a great save, just like Xfinity Internet, and then just turns back in and, ooh, big move there by York. He was able to yank the wheel I don't think you can get closer than that.
You certainly cannot. That'll move Zach York back to the 15th position. He probably will want to come down pit road to maybe get a look at those tires, maybe get those fresh tires on his car. But as the field works their way through, they're coming up to the pit road entrance. We just got done with a caution, Briar. We just got done with pit stops. Do you think we should see anybody other than maybe Zach York coming down pit road?
With only having 5 sets of tires, I would assume not, as everyone pretty much drives on by pit road. Nothing there, but I believe we have a pit road report from Strix.
Absolutely, you do. I was able to have a conversation just immediately after that wreck happened to ask the 27 car what ended up happening there, and what ended up happening is he said the front end of the car just kind of tightened up and he drove a little bit into that car. He said no damage. We're going to go straight through this yellow flag, stay out of the pits, and keep her going. So I'm not sure if it was necessarily netcode, but in either case, it was very light damage for the 27.
Very good job. Thank you, Strix, on that pit road update. As we see the field now going back double file, it is going to be Boyd Hogan who decides to make the lane choice of taking the outside lane. Clayton Hoffman will be starting on the inside lane in that number 12 Chevy Camaro. Then it's going to be DeWeese, Helton, and Ralph Hutchinson, your top 5, along with Vincent Arthur, rounding out your first 3 rows for your championship competitors. As they work down the back straightaway, this is probably the most grueling part of this track, is how long you have to wait before you even get into the restart zone and get ready to go racing here tonight. We race to a little bit after the 100 lap mark as the field works through turns 3 and 4 into the restart zone. Green flag is out by Barney the Flagman, and we are back underway here at Phoenix Raceway. A great jump by Hogan and DeWeese as they dive it down into turns 1 and 2. Hoffman still trying to battle back on the inside, but here comes Vincent Arthur and Logan Helton as they come off of turn 2.
That was incredible teammate work right there between the Reaper Chevrolets, is they both knew when to gun it. You see the 12 and the 15 side by side with one another. Hoffman was the big loser in that because he fell back and now he has to rework his tires up to heat and up to temperature to get back around DeWeese. Those two are going to be playing the teammate game all night. If the 15 of DeWeese can stay there behind Boyd Hogan, it's going to be an interesting night.
Briar, how important is it to have a teammate in a race such as this in order to play a little defense and as well as to have someone to help you if need be?
Yeah, with Boyd being in the championship for, he's got plenty of wins, plenty of stage wins, plenty of all this and that you could ask for to show dominance in this series, but having that teammate of Braxton DeWeese there to kind of help him out, be that buffer there on the restart is definitely a big help for sure. As we go on board here with Vincent Arthur going into turn number 3. Another championship 4 contender there, Clayton Hoffman, running down on the bottom, trying to work over Braxton DeWeese in the Reaper Speed Lab. As we get away from Vincent Arthur, he's ready to go. I think he's trying to get up there and get going, but hello to Vincent Arthur. Running well there. P4 trying to get around Clayton Hoffman.
Gotta love the charisma from Vincent Arthur and the confidence that he has to be able to do something like that. And he's going to power on the outside to try to see if he can get around the 12 of Clayton Hoffman as they work through turns 3 and 4. The outside momentum may come in handy, but not this time as Hoffman powers back through on the inside. They go down through the dogleg as they now enter the braking zone of turns 1 and 2. Arthur tries to send it in there, but gets a little wide, washes up the racetrack, has to back it down in order to make the corner off turn 2, but picks up the momentum he needs to get around him on the outside. Terry, you don't want to be playing around with these competitors because Boyd Hogan has pulled out to about 0.8 of a second now.
Yeah, that's why I've been curious when it comes to there, as you see all of us on the board. Man, who's that really good-looking guy in the Tennessee hat? He must be married, a.k.a. Terry McHottie. But you see these two racing each other super, super, super hard. And I'm curious from Briar's perspective, if you're racing for the championship and you're sitting there like the 24 and the 12, they were racing hard for the 3rd place position. It has obviously cost the 12 2 positions so far because he's getting into the clutches of Ralph Hutchinson. But why would you race that hard at 52 laps into this event?
Just trying to keep track position. Track position, I think, is going to be an important key to this race, honestly, with how tough it's going to be to pass. As we noticed, some drivers are moving up towards the middle to top grooves here in 3 and 4, which is definitely a change for sure. As we're on board here with Ralph Hutchinson, Championship 4 contender, on the back bumper, Clayton Hoffman here. See how high he gets up into the corner here. He's going to get up next to the wall almost, cut it way down. He's going to get a big arc and big run coming off the corner there. Not quite the run he wanted, I believe, but you're going to see drivers keep using that line, and we've seen Vincent Arthur use it here down at 3 and 4, running up higher just to get the run off the corner to capitalize going into turn 1. But yeah, you definitely just want to keep the car clean here when you're battling for a championship, but track position is definitely going to be key.
Track position is always king when racing here at a track such as the Phoenix Raceway. As they work off of turn number 2, Boyd Hogan has stretched out to his biggest lead since the start of the race to about 1.2 seconds. Braxton DeWeese sits in second. Your top 3 is rounded off by Vincent Arthur. Then you have Logan Helton and Clayton Hoffman rounding out your top 5. Your other Championship 4 competitor, Ralph Hutchinson, sits in 6th position, as you see at the top of the screen right there, as the field is circling their way through. 55 laps have been completed, and as they work off of turn number 2, it is a very spicy battle between the top 2, or the 2nd through 4th, as they work their way through off of turn number 4. Arthur gets really loose off of turn 4, though. Big slide. That opens the door for Helton. He'll look to the inside as they go side-by-side battle for 3rd. Helton will send it into the bottom of the racetrack. Arthur struggling for grip right now in this stage.
Hey, the track's heated up. I mean, we saw it start off at 97 degrees. They're really starting to come out of the corners. Track tip right now is at 99. That is ridiculously hot. I wish we had that heat here in Georgia. It has been miserably cold. But you see what Hoffman's doing? He's sitting back biding his time. And for Arthur, he's praying for a caution. He's praying for the end of the stage break because he really is on the edge. He's living on the edge, as Aerosmith said, but he's on the edge of out of control, and he's been playing with the outside lane. Hoffman, on the other hand, has been inside the entire time. We haven't seen him stretch it out, and he's loose too as he drives through turn 3 and 4.
He is definitely on a knife's edge as you see him sawing on the wheel to make sure he gets through the corner as they go back up towards turns 1 and 2. Helton looks to the inside of Vincent Arthur, who is just trying to hang on for dear life to that 3rd position as they come off of turn 2. Down the back straightaway, great racing action here as the field is lined up. And as we are working their way through, some implications for some drivers who are up towards the front of the field. The 55 of Liam Sheen has taken it behind the wall, and a big issue for him. He was having such a good run, Breyer. Very surprising to see him pull off.
Yeah, very surprising to see him pull off. He was having a great run there. Not sure what happened, but the race goes on. Racing out of turn number 2, single file down the back straightaway. Braxton DeWeese holding on strong there, leading this train that we sort of formed here. Vincent Arthur couldn't really get to work around him at all, but I believe as the run goes on, we'll see, like I said earlier on, differences in the setup and tire saving and whatnot. But the first couple of laps, as we go on board here with Joseph McWhorter, see, there's just a little bit of a window that you just can't really work around the driver as Chris Avera is pulling off down the back straightaway there, letting him go. Good guy. Love to see it. But yeah, there's a little bit of a window where it's very tough to pass because everyone's just so even. They're on top of each other and just can't seem to find the advantage to get around each other on the racetrack. As Logan Helton working the bottom groove here, majority of drivers still running the top side as we expected, but so far so good for the Championship 4.
Certainly is. Looking through the field right now, your biggest mover of tonight's race is the 99 of Christopher Hill, who started in 18th, is now running inside the top 10 in 9th position. The Johnson City, Tennessee driver of Chris Hill, a very long-time strong competitor in the MSRA from Legacy Esports, knows a thing or two, and he's going to run right up against that white wall in the middle of turns 1 and 2, and he's going to come down pit road.
One heck of a strategy to do, man. He is flat flying down pit road, but that's what us Tennesseans do. We live on the edge of out of control. I don't know what he's doing, but he's having a good time as he screeches it on the pit road, and I think that, nope, He's still there having a good bit of time, but you see what Logan Hilton's doing as he goes around Vincent Arthur. They're side by side, and no offense to the 15 of Braxton DeWeese, but the speed itself is not there. I have not seen consistent lap times out of him this entire time, but where he really is kicking their tail is turns 1 and 2. He is absolutely destroying the people behind him, but when they get to 3 and 4, they can't build the momentum to get around him. It's been holding the 24 up. I want to see when the impatience level or the patience level kicks out of that 24, and he has to really go up there and show aggression to get to the championship lead.
He's going to have to try to find it quickly, as we are just about 40 laps away from the end of stage number 2. And as they come across the line, 65 laps are still on the board as they work their way back into turns 1 and 2. Great racing action as we see Arthur trying to put the pressure on that Reaper Speed Lab Chevrolet of Braxton DeWeese.
Yeah, lap time's not being so consistent there for the 15, but we're on board here with Clayton Hoffman, who's riding 4th in this train. Definitely, as Terry pointed out, the patience level probably is not going to be going on for too far. But Boyd Hogan, wow, he has stretched himself out to a wonderful lead. I think that's the best thing he's seen all race. Having that buffer is definitely going to pay off here, as I believe we have an update on Hill there, Strix.
Yes, we do. I managed to talk to Christopher Hill as he pulled it into the pits. As it turns out, he's actually having wheel issues. So he pulled it, back into the garage, and he's calling it quits for today. Really unfortunate news from Christopher Hill, but hopefully we'll see him back in the future.
Thank you, Strix, for the Capital Auto Group pit report. And as they work their way through the middle of turns 3 and 4, Vincent Arthur stuck on the outside lane trying to find his way around the 63 of Logan Helton. He is under pressure from championship competitors Clayton Hoffman and Ralph Hutchinson as they work their way back into turns 1 and 2. DeWeese is trying to just hold on here, Breyer. A lot of things happening here in this battle for second, but once we can see who is able to end up unplugging this hole right here and getting around Braxton DeWeese, it will change everything for these drivers.
Absolutely. It will definitely change everything. Like I said earlier, track position, I believe, is going to be important. So it's going to be interesting to see which drivers are going to turn up the intensity level to try and get around Braxton DeWeese and maybe get some track position before the stage ends. The stage ends at lap 105. So got a little bit left in this stage, but obviously it's going to come up quick and probably quicker than you expect. So as a driver, you probably need to move up. And being a Championship 4 driver, I should say, you probably need to turn up the intensity level a little bit before the end of the stage, try and pick up as many positions as you can. That way, when you come down pit road, you're going to be able to have the best track position, going into the last stage.
Yeah, you certainly are. You're going to have to find it sooner rather than later because it is not much time left. 70 laps on the board as you're on board with Clayton Hoffman, who is just trying to find the opening he needs to get around the 63 of Logan Helton, trying to pop that bubble and get around him as quickly as possible. He'll go down below the yellow line through the dog leg as they work back into turns 1 and 2. Helton goes to the top side. Everyone now moves up a lane as they're no longer running against that yellow line there, Breyer, sticking towards the middle to right up against the wall. How much momentum will these drivers be able to utilize as we see the battle now for third? Helton looks to the inside.
As you've seen right there, momentum was on Logan Helton's side, but as you exit turn number 2 here at Phoenix, you're going to be, there's the slight banking that's got in the corner. You're going to be running down that bank and carrying it all the way to turn number 3. It's a long way down to that corner on the other end of the track, but man, got to give it up to Braxton, though. We said his lap times aren't holding up, but no one seems to be able to get around him. So I think Braxton's holding it on his own here. Just, it seems like we got a train kind of building up and everyone's stacking up. It's just hard to pass here with the dirty air. Everyone's stuck in that slight bubble there is here. But Braxton holding up on his own up there, and Logan Helton diving to the yellow line, or bottom middle seam there in turn 1 and 2. Not quite the yellow. Got to cut it down to the yellow, though. That's the thing I've noticed here with this new Phoenix, is that there's different lines people take through 1 and 2. Some will run wall and cut down to the bottom middle seam, or some will run wall and all the way to the yellow, or some will run middle all the way to the yellow. It's a different way these drivers approach turns 1 and 2, different ways to carry your momentum all the way into turn number 3.
And I want to come back to you on this one, Breyer. The differences between the two different tracks that we're used to racing on compared to this new configuration. You know, on iRacing, we have several different versions of Phoenix Raceway, from the very oldest original version to the updated one with the dogleg that we now see here today. Of course, a couple of other updates for this version that we see here. But how is it driving differently on the older Phoenix compared to this new one?
Definitely a lot different, I would say. Being able to run in the eNASCAR Road Pro Contender Series, you have a long race. It was 200 laps. I was able to settle in and kind of get going. It was a late change because we were testing in or on the old Phoenix there before they released this new one. So being able to adapt and change was something I had to overcome and figure out. As the 63 here, Logan Helton diving, might throw a slider here, maybe slowly sliding up the track, not quite. See if he can carry the momentum going into turn number 3. But as I was saying, it was tough to change and adapt to the new Phoenix. A little bit different lines there that you needed to get used to, but overall it's a fun change for sure.
Certainly has, and we can't thank iRacing enough for continuing to show advancements in the sport that we love. That is, of course, all things eNASCAR related when it comes to this version on the iRacing service. And as we still watch the battle for second place here, along with third, Vincent Arthur still now holding off as he gets a little squirrely off turn 2. That's going to be able to have to gather it back up. Helton trying to find, poking and prodding his way around that number 24 Chevrolet Camaro, and it is now coming off of turn number 4. Braxton DeWeese, though, has pulled away a little bit there, Terry. It seems like he's starting to have the car come back to him a little bit.
I think he has the long run speed, because the short term that we had, the first 30 laps that we had on this cycle of tires, he was slower than the people behind him, but he was doing a great job of running the lines that he needed to run to build the momentum up, but it wasn't showing on the stopwatch. Now he's a full 10th faster than them. That time he was just another 10th faster, and he was only a couple 100ths off of what Boyd Hogan was running. So the Reaper boys went out here and did some work on what the long run was going to do, because they kind of figured that this was going to go into a longer green flag run, as we could potentially have the longest green flag run of the night. And for Logan Helton and Vincent Arthur, especially for the 24, he could watch his championship go up in smokes if he races the 63 like this. He's all over the back bumper of that machine.
63 of Logan Helton from Milton, Florida, is definitely now going to try to see if he can pull the slide job off of turn number 2 against the 24 of Vincent Arthur. Not going to happen this time just yet. They're still going to remain side by side. Clayton Hoffman in the 12, as well as Ralph Hutchinson as well, watching on in the popcorn position. Chris Severa in 7th position. So you have the battle from 3rd to 7th happening here on your screen as they work their way down the front straightaway. Helton tries to dive it into turns 1 and 2 against, now try to slide up in front of the 24 Vincent Arthur. Not close enough. Hoffman, though, he's going to try to take him 3 wide off of turn 2. Can't make it work. Great racing action here in the second half of stage number 2.
Great racing here at Phoenix, like you said. If I was Logan Helton, though, I would definitely be tempted to throw a slider here going into turn number 1. I believe that's about the only way he's going to make it work. He seems to be struggling on the bottom as he loses a ton of ground there. Looks like he slid up and about, got into the side of the 24 machine there, but Helton losing 2 more spots right there. It's going to have to rally back and make another run at it, but we'll see here as Ralph Hutchinson looking to the inside, maybe a Clayton Hoffman, not quite into turn number 3, but it looks like Vincent Arthur's taking the lead of this train here as Braxton DeWeese has pulled away with the long run speed, as Terry pointed out. But yeah, Vincent Arthur seems to be on the struggle bus currently.
Very much so. He might have to make some adjustments here on that matter. Terry, I want to come to you on this, and we're always talking about, when it comes to playoff format since its inception, of how non-playoff drivers should show respect to the playoff competitors. And we saw Logan Helton didn't really give an inch to Vincent Arthur. He was respectful, didn't make any contact, but raced him hard. How important as well as how difficult it could be on a playoff contender to know, hey, one of these non-playoff competitors is messing up my race. I need to let him know or find a way to get around him so I can focus on what I need to do, and that's win a championship.
I mean, I don't think when the championship contenders watch this, when they're going to like what I say, but get faster. If you don't want to race around non-playoff guys, get faster. Do more testing, get a better setup, have more raw speed. You're not hearing Boyd Hogan race with anybody. You're not having to worry about what Boyd's having to do up there in the lead, almost 6 seconds away from second place right now, because he went out, he put the work in, his team did an excellent job putting the setups together. If you're back here, your Huffman stepped away, but Arthur, Hutchinson, they're racing these non-playoff guys, and the non-playoff guys are doing nothing wrong. It's their job to win for their team. It's their job to win for their sponsors and for themselves. They don't need to just pull over and give them anything. And if I'm the 15, I'm the 63, the 32, whoever's racing these guys, race them the same way you race them, with the same level of consistency from Daytona all the way to tonight, because nothing's changed, and they're going to be here next season, and they need to know that you're faster than them now, and you're going to be faster than them next season when we kick off another season of MSRA.
Let's head on down to pit road for our Capital Auto Group pit report. Strix?
So here is the update here. Every driver is complaining about the tires. The tires are just falling off a wall right now. I talked to the spotter and crew chief for Ralph Hutchison, the number 51. Robbie Rebel Jr. says that he might be doing green flag stops before the stage ends because the tire fall off is so bad. Number one cause, dirty air.
Dirty air playing as another major factor for your championship competitors here tonight, as we see Ralph Hutchinson under immense pressure from the 32 of Joseph McWhorter. He is half a second off the pace compared to some of these competitors that he is trying to battle against, and especially half a second off of your race leader, Boyd Hogan. Something he needs to try to find. And Breyer, coming to you on this strategy, is that a decent call to maybe make here halfway through this stage?
Being in the championship 4 and with how important track position is, as I was saying earlier, I think it's going to be a good call, honestly. You're going to try and find yourself up front, but the only thing is he's not going to have a buffer of other people pulling this strategy, I don't think. You're going to have Boyd Hogan and Branson DeWeese right behind him on the restart for the next stage, but see if he can take advantage of that clean air he's going to have early on and maybe try and hold off those two Reaper Speed Lab machines. But I believe it's going to be a good call to try and get him some track position, but it's going to be up to him to try and keep the tires on it and keep the clean air.
Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you do come down pit road under these green flag conditions, if he decides to come down before the end of the stage, if there is no caution, that's a big trouble, though, because you can easily lose 2 laps under green flag conditions. So he needs to try to time it and hopefully get a caution before the end of the stage, Terry.
I mean, it's gambling at its finest. So, I mean, you come to one of these races and you're off the pace, and especially at a track like Phoenix, this is one of the places that if you're a 10th off, it shows. You're going to see them. They're just going to walk away from you. So rolling the dice, and like I said, I spoke to a couple drivers before we came on the air tonight, and the biggest key they had was, if I get in dirty air, I'm screwed. And here we are. They're in dirty air. They're having issues, and you see what these drivers are having to do. You're seeing lap times fall off in just a big comparison. A 28.10, and then the next closest to him is a 21 or a 28.2, and that's Clayton. So the dirty air really plays a factor, and everybody else who's in it's running 4s, 5s, 3s. This is just going to be a cat and mouse game, and who's going to take advantage of the strategy calls and who's not.
Big checkup right there for Jacob Shorba as he almost got into the back bumper of Joseph McWhorter in that number 32 Reaper Chevrolet as he works his way across the start-finish line. Battling right now with the 62 of Chris Severa, who is having a great run so far as he works his way to the inside of none other than Ralph Hutchinson. Of course, having a decent season, though, Breyer, is Chris Severa, one of the rookie competitors, as he's going to try to see if he has what it takes to maybe get a top 5 finish tonight.
Yeah, we're on board here with Clayton Hoffman, as believed. Braxton DeWeese touched the wall there coming out of turn number 4. Hoffman gonna dive into turn number 1, not quite get clear of him there with the slider, but Braxton DeWeese gonna carry the momentum off going into turn number 3. As speaking of dirty air, you can visit twitch.tv/dirtyair13 to see Gary Sexton's in-car perspective. Sorry. He's not in this race, but check him out there. Twitch.tv/dirtyair13. Fun time here, streaming iRacing in this community, as people mainly know me as Patriot Breyer on Twitch. Yeah, absolutely great community here in the Twitch community. As slip up there by Braxton DeWeese, interesting to see how that damage might affect him here as the run goes on.
Of course, you can catch Gary Sexton on his Twitch channel, Dirty Air, on, of course, Monday night for the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Rowdy Energy Drinks. We'll give you the full field, a lineup of what's to come later on during the show, because we have so much more great racing action to come from tonight all the way to next Tuesday. So keep an eye later on during the show. But as they work their way down the back straightaway here, closing in on the end of stage number 2 here tonight. There you see the battle for second now between Braxton DeWeese and Clayton Hoffman as they work their way across the start-finish line. Clayton now tries to get to the back bumper. Will he look to the inside as they enter turn 1? He goes to the top side, backs off his corner a little bit, tries to build the momentum he needs to get a better run. He'll dive it to the inside off corner exit. Side-by-side battle for second. Hoffman on the inside, DeWeese on the outside. He's got a nose over him, but DeWeese will power back on the outside.
Oh man, that got really, really close, like dropping meat out of your burrito. You saw the 12 slide up just a little bit. He almost touched the inside of that the 15, and that could have been huge. Just massive championship implications. As you see, Arthur, he's battling with Helton right there. We're getting all these H's mixed up here, but it's. Yeah, here he comes. We're putting the 51 into position. That puts all of the championship 4 drivers in the top 5, and I believe that's the first time tonight we've started to see signs of life out of these drivers. They're actually playing up in the front. What is the caution going to bring when we get to the end of stage 2? Because somebody's going to have to throw the kitchen sink at it. Man, this race is far from over. Boyd might be 10 seconds ahead, but he's got to come.
He certainly will have to come down pit road here in the next 4 laps as they come across the line. 101 laps are now on the board as they dive it back into turns 1 and 2. There you see Ralph Hutchinson, of course, working his way through as he's trying to catch up to the 24 of Vincent Arthur. He's been the last car inside the top 4 all race long, needing to make adjustments. He will have that opportunity at the end of stage number 2 here in a couple of laps. But as we go back through the field, there you see Logan Helton, Chris Severa. There you see those two now side by side on your screen, battling the intensity, the focus between these two, very critical as 2 different drivers have 2 different sets of agendas here tonight there, Breyer.
Yeah, 2 different sets of agendas there. Logan Helton trying, I believe he let Ralph Hutchinson by there just out of respect there, so +1 to Logan Helton for letting him by, and I think that's the best thing for Ralph Hutchinson to see there. Getting another spot before the stage ends here. Lap 105 will be the stage end, so another spot for Ralph. Going to set himself up a little bit better for the end of or the beginning of the next stage, as I believe Strix has another Capital Auto pit report on Braxton DeWeese.
I absolutely do here. There's a lot of complaints from Braxton DeWeese's pits about the damage. We saw on screen Brax had knocked down the wall a little bit while fighting with that car behind him, the number 12. However, he said he's knocked it a few times before that, says his right-hand side is, quote, screwed. We'll have to see if he's going to be taking some repairs and make some changes heading into stage 2, the end of stage 2.
And as the field works their way across the start-finish line, this should be the end of stage number 2. We're just waiting for confirmation as the rest of the top 10 works their way through. And as they work their way off, here comes Boyd Hogan with an astonishing 9.5 second lead. He comes across the line. Barney Flagman forgot to get the green and white checker flag out, but that's okay, as we have reached the end of stage number 2. And as we do that, we will also have to say a big thank you to, of course, one great person as the field works their way through, waiting for your top 10 to get the stage points, because there's still a lot of things on the line for these drivers, as there's the yellow flag out. Barney the Flagman waving it here up in his new flag stand here at Phoenix Raceway. But with that, at the end of stage 2, Boyd Hogan is your stage 2 winner, presented by HutchCo. HutchCo has been proudly serving the northeastern Colorado community since 1999. Pouring the foundations of countless homes and shops, the MSRA commemorates their service as their business ends operation. HutchCo has long desired to be involved in racing and has joined the Premier Series to fulfill that dream. Thanks to HutchCo for their service. And of course, we have a lot to look at as we now go down to pit road, where we see Strict Pulsatrix seeing our drivers lead here. What's the pit road report presented by Capital Auto Group?
Well, today is the right here in stage 2. The pit report, very simple. Tires and fuel. Every single driver that I talked to during this stint here complained about the tires, especially during dirty air. It was tight in, loose, wrecking loose off. We saw a few cars going sideways off of turns 1 and 2. So pretty much for the entire field, 4 tires, gas, and get out of there.
And that is your pit road report presented by Capital Auto Group as the field works their way through. Based in Salem, Oregon, Capital Auto Group is a car dealer that will meet and exceed your high expectations each and every time. Their experienced sales staff is eager to share its knowledge and enthusiasm with you. You can browse inventory online, schedule a test drive, and investigate financing options. Visit Capital Auto Group online at www.capitalauto.com. And now, as we come to the end of stage number 2, we are in the final stage. And with that, it is time that we go to our Strunk PC's ones to watch. Check out Strunk PC on Facebook for your computer repair needs. Terry, I want to come to you. Who are you going to be watching in this final stage?
Going to be watching Boyd Hogan. He has been destroying people's dreams like North Carolina did Wake Forest is today. Sorry, James Pike. He has won virtually everything in the rounds, and I expect to crown him champion here tonight.
Briar, we come to you now. Who are you watching?
I got to be a little biased here. I got to go with my Lockdown Racing teammate of Ralph Hutchison there in the 51. I'm sure Robbie Vrabel on the box there threw the kitchen sink at that thing, and he's going to be ready to go here for the final stage and try and go get himself a championship.
Keep an eye on the 15 of Braxton DeWeese. I mean, that driver has been dominating in that second position most of the race, has had a strong run. He could be possibly a spoiler for some of these championship competitors. May not possibly win the race, but could have some implications, as our producer Ryan Bauer makes the pick of Vincent Arthur as the one to watch. He had good long run speed and has well looking to see if he can capitalize on a possible win here today. Field now getting lined up double file to go racing here once again. We race to the finish, so we will go to lap 225. 116 laps to go as they line up double file here side by side. And for this time here, Boyd Hogan will once again select the inside lane, so making some changes once again on his strategy, wanting to be lined up ahead of his teammate to make it a little easier on these corner entries. As we just got word, Chris Severa in the 62 has taken it behind the wall. But the pace car has been now peeled off pit road. Boyd Hogan will lead the field to the green flag for the final stage here tonight. Barney the Flag Man has the green flag in hand, and green flag is out, and we are back underway for the final stage of the 2021 season, and it is now chaos ensues as they go 3-4 wide even as they now race down into turn 1. Here comes Boyd Hogan now leading. Braxton DeWeese moves up to second, but Hoffman now wants to get around DeWeese for that second position as they come off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Here comes Joseph McWhorter. He moved up to 5th position. He's been outside of that top 5 all night long. He now breaks in here for the first time.
Nice. And this is the last time, sorry bro, this is the last time that these drivers are going to get a guaranteed yellow flag. So anything they did under the stage 2 break on pit lane, they have to make it fast when they come down for green flag stops. And for Huffman, here he is in the 3rd place spot. He needs to get around DeWeese, and he needs to do it now if he wants to make a charge up there to the 96.
Yeah, Braxton's going to have to make a charge there up to the 96. Sorry for cutting you off there, Taylor, but I got to point out something. I think I want to say that Hoffman here is going to be on the move trying to get around Braxton DeWeese here. Going to be aggressive as I believe he's going to get the move done right there. There it is. Clayton Hoffman moving himself into P number 2. Let's see what kind of speed he's got. He got a little bit of clean air on the nose here. Let's see if he can run down the 96 of Boyd Hogan. See if we got to fight for the championship.
We will see if we will have the fight that we all been wanting to see here. Boyd Hogan, Clayton Hoffman, who have been battling all season long, along with, of course, Vincent Arthur, Ralph Hutchinson. These are some of the ones who won race, the only drivers who have won races all season long for the most part. Looking through all of the winners that have competed this season, if it was not either Boyd Hogan or Ralph Hutchinson, Clayton Hoffman, or Vincent Arthur, only, and this is only, we are looking at 3 to 4 other drivers who have won a race out of the entire 36 race season. But I would have to say probably more than 70% of the races that were started by Boyd Hogan has won those races in absolutely dominant fashion. In fact, he has gone 6 races in a row since into the playoffs.
Yeah, he's been on an absolute tear, and who in their right mind would not pick him going into this as the championship favorite? I'm sure if we had this on the betting line at Vegas right now, he would have been just an incredible chance to win this when everybody else would have been, 1 in 100 to win the title. But for Boyd right now, he has to keep his head on the swivel because right now, here comes Hoffman. He's starting to close in. I'm watching it click down 5-6, 5-5. And he's making some charge as they're only separated by 1/10 of a second on speed. It's time for Huffman to make some moves because if he doesn't, those tires are going to burn out and he's going to find himself in the clutches of Logan Helton.
To put this into perspective, Boyd Hogan won 18 races out of the 35 race schedule in this season, not counting tonight's race. We have to see who wins. For Clayton Hoffman, he only won 1 race, and that was at Atlanta back in July. And of course, Boyd's last win was just last week at Martinsville. So, Breyer, I want to come to you on this. The momentum as well as the enthusiasm as well as many emotions going into this race, the confidence for someone like Clayton Hoffman, who's only won 1 race but made it to the Final Four, compared to someone who's won 18 out of the 35 races. What would that level of confidence be between the 2 drivers?
Boyd definitely showed last week that he was super confident heading into this race. Clayton Hoffman having only that 1 win back in July in Atlanta and running up here fine with Boyd. I think he's ran well from the time I've been here from the Roval on. I think he's ran really well, showed a lot of pace, and I believe he's got a lot of confidence here in this last stage to try and giddy up and try and go get Boyd Hogan for the championship.
Certainly is, as we see Clayton Hoffman closing the gap. It's about 7/10 of a second between your top 2. Meanwhile, Vincent Arthur is in a hornet's nest of competitors running into 6th position. He just got passed by Joseph McWhorter in the 32 machine, and as well under immense pressure trying to see if he can maintain that position as they come across the line. Closing in on just about 100 laps to go, 105 now left to go on the board as they work their way across the line. Your championship force sits as followed. Hogan, your race leader. Then you have Hoffman in 2nd. Arthur is in 6th, and Hutchinson is in 7th as we watch the battle for 4th.
And what a tale of two tapes between your championship 4, 1, and 2, and then you have to go all the way back to 6 and 7 to find the other two. And that's no slouch to them. It just shows you the level of competition in MSRA. And it's one of the things I talked about earlier. I don't mean to make anybody feel bad when I said get faster, but you can't expect the people that you're racing with just to pull over and go, here you go. We're racing here. This is iRacing. If you wanted passing, go somewhere else, because this isn't where you're going to find it. You have to earn it. You have to earn it here. This is where you come into your own and settle in. And some of these guys are going to be future Coke Series driver, future contender drivers. They're on the big stages for a reason. And right here is why this is stiff competition. Boyd Hogan showing why he just wants to go out here and rip anything up he can to win. And Huffman, he's put himself in the solidified number 2 position to now make his way to challenge for the title.
He certainly is. He's fallen a little bit ways back from your race leader. Boyd Hogan is now up to 1.2 seconds between the top two. And looking at timing right now, Boyd Hogan is a little bit over a tenth faster than second place driver Clayton Hoffman. Fastest lap of the race goes to, of course, Boyd Hogan with a 26.514 that he ran early on in the race here. And of course, Hoffman is about a tenth off that pace with a 26.614. As they work their way through turns 3 and 4, we have a battle happening for that 5th position between Arthur and McWhorter. Arthur will go right down towards that white wall down there at the bottom of the racetrack and then try to carry that speed and momentum to try to slide up in front of McWhorter, which he will try and complete the pass. McWhorter tries to cross over, can't make it work. Hutchison watches on in the popcorn position.
Hutchison watching on, like you said, in the popcorn position, waiting to pounce. Not the greatest start to the last stage as he wanted, I bet, but still a long ways to go, 100 laps to go. It's going to be interesting to see green flag pit stops, as long as the caution doesn't throw a wedge into that. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers handle the tire wear. We've only seen 40 laps for stage 1, and then I believe 65 for stage 2, so we're going to be going longer than that. It's going to be time for these drivers to man up and make sure they can wheel these beasts. So Boyd out to a great lead right now. If he can just hold on to his pace and save his rears, I'm sure he's going to lock this one up.
Certainly looks like to be the case as we watch on here as they work their way off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. A lot of great racing though in the middle of the pack as Joseph McWhorter, you see on screen, trying to utilize some great technology of VR headsets. And Terry, you know, we've seen how drivers in the sim racing community continue to utilize trying new things in order to get better experience, get a more in-depth involvement with driving in the world of sim racing. And people can find many different ways to utilize that, whether it be, of course, VR, motion rig, as well as other applications in order to have a better experience with iRacing.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. You see the tail of the comparisons, the tail of the tape. You have one right there with no gloves on, just focused in his seat with a lot of cool things behind him on his wall. And then you see what McWhorter's doing. He has the VR on, he's got his gloves on, he's doing everything possible as they're both just sliding it off the exit of the corner. It just shows you how we're progressing in this world, whether it's changing up your gloves, changing up socks. There's a lot of people making socks, shorts, hoodies, everything that they're doing to keep yourself comfortable in the rig. I actually just saw on Twitter the other day that Richmond Raceway has their own sim rig, and it's a motion car. It's doing it its own thing so you can feel what the drivers feel on the track. As you see the battle right here, here comes a championship contender trying to get himself back into the top 6. He's going to go side by side with the 32. Joseph struggling on that high side.
A little too close for comfort right there as they come off corner exit, but McWhorter will fall back a position to 7th place while Ralph Hutchinson moves up a position. Great racing, great respectable, but now here comes McWhorter on the outside. He's going to try to pressure Hutchinson maybe and hold on to that position as they work their way down the back straightaway. Still side-by-side battle for position as they come through 3 and 4.
It coming through 3 and 4, side by side still. Ralph probably getting a little bit frustrated there. Just trying, he's already having a bad race or bad start to the stage at least. And as he finally gets around McWhorter there, He's going to try and work his way up and keep moving forward. But I want to go back to what you guys are talking about, the comfortability, or comfort, I would say, in SimRig. I actually, weirdly enough, there's like a routine I go through running the Contender Series. You got to be able to just get yourself focused up and ready for a race. Usually talking or going back to what Terry said, the socks. I usually wear a certain pair of socks when I get into my rig racing on Tuesday nights now for the Contender Series here on iRacing. But there's just a certain way people feel comfortable racing, whether it be a VR headset, racing with gloves, racing with no gloves, racing with one sock on, who knows? It can be multiple different things, but it's crazy how many things there are to keep a driver comfortable, or the differences you see in these rigs as we have the onboard shots that we show constantly here on the broadcast.
Such great cameras and great participation by the drivers who do get involved with utilizing that. And there we see the Davis brothers going at it. There's Steven along with his brother, who is right there. That is Brandon. They're running in 11th and 12th position. Separated a little bit by about 3 seconds, but still, it's good to see the brotherly love between the two drivers.
Man, I wonder how hard it is to hide a setup from one of those two. They're right over your shoulders. You just see the VR headsets galore. I've been peeking over to the brother and going, "Hey man, what'd you do on that pit stop? Did you change some wedge?" And it'd be very awkward if they're on separate teams and they're sitting right next to one another, and it's like, "Shh, hey, don't tell them what your setup is. We don't want the competition to know what they're doing." Yeah, they're teammates now, but down the road, if they're not teammates, it'd be pretty interesting to see if maybe one of them outpaces the other. Ooh, big wiggle by the 24 right there.
24, Vincent Arthur having some struggles right now in this run here. We know he's a little bit better longer into the run, but this is the stage where the car can be a little bit squirrely, a little bit tough to drive, Briar. It's that danger zone where if you make too many mistakes, you could cost your tires, cost your equipment, and lose so many positions. But also, if you are smart and play it out right, it could benefit you when we get into the second half of a long run.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen Boyd in the past few races where he'll sit back and say second, third, fourth, wherever it may be, and just kind of save his stuff and set himself up for the end of the run, whatever that run may be. But as we're working on our longest run of the race, I believe, or soon to be, I believe we're going to have green flag pit stops towards the end of this thing. But yeah, it's important to keep the tires on this thing. We're around that area as we're on board here with Vincent Arthur. These two have been going at it here as they got close already once in turn 1 and 2. But yeah, the tires are going to start to wear and the rears are going to be shredding here. And the more slides, the worse. You don't want to keep those rears heated up. You need to figure out a way to cool them down the best you can and keep the car going straight coming off the corners.
Certainly are going to need to keep that car going straight off the corner as they work their way back over into turns 1 and 2. You see Vincent Arthur trying to focus, keeping the car, saw it a little bit the other way to get going off the corner, but does a great job of keeping it off the wall, trying to hunt down second or third place or fourth place driver Braxton DeWeese. Timing and scoring a little bit updated right there as they work their way across the start-finish line. 86 laps to go. A lot of still great racing, great strategy calls yet to happen here tonight as they work their way through turns 1 and 2 again.
It's been very interesting to see the differences that we've seen in the Championship 4. At first, we thought that Arthur was going to be the guy to go up there and really contend with what Boyd Hogan's been doing. And then as the race progressed, here comes Hoffman. He's making moves. The only one that really hasn't made a whole lot of ground up is the 51. He's had flashes of speed. We've seen him run good up front. Right now, he was the slowest across all Championship 4 drivers on the previous lap and on the best lap here. So waiting to see what he's going to be able to do. I'm sure he's praying for a caution to get himself one more chance to just make that minute adjustment that could be the difference of running 6th and going up there and challenging what they're doing. As they had a problem right here, the 49 looks like he's got some damage.
Zach York hit the wall pretty hard, Briar. That's going to cause a little bit of trouble right there for Zach and the rest of this run.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to throw the handling off as he's going to pull it in. Not sure if he's going to call it quits here or not with 84 laps to go. But as we go back on board here with Logan Helton, trying to run down the number 12 of Clayton Hoffman. I'm sure he'd like to try and get around him and catch Boyd, but Boyd's got a rocket ship. He is blasted off and gone. It's going to be a tough situation, or tough deal to try and run down Boyd, but he's got a shot here at P2. I'm sure Logan Helton would like to cap off the season on a high note with how the past few races have been.
Well, with that, we have to say a big thank you to another partner of the MSRA Premier Series, and that is FSM Customs. FSM Customs offers custom button boxes builds for sim racers across different disciplines of racing. In addition to boxes, FSM also offers custom decals to customize your rig even more. Flip the switch on your sim rig and check out FSM Customs on Facebook today. And with that, as we continue to watch the action here, approaching 81 laps to go, we are going to go side by side. You are watching the MSRA Premier Series season finale live from the virtual Phoenix Raceway on Podium Esports.
The key is being true to who you are, finding your own style. I go to Fantastic Sam's because I get the look I want.
Fantastic Sam's Cut and Color. Looks good on you.
I went to Fantastic Sam's and they helped me find a style that highlights my wild side.
Fantastic Sam's Cut and Color. Looks good on you.
This is iRacing, the world's premiere.
Welcome back to coverage of the MSRA Premier Series Championship Finale live on Podium Esports from the virtual Phoenix Raceway. Taylor Burris here along with Terry Radford, Briar LaPrade, and Strick Pulsatrick down on pit road with our producer Ryan Bauer. And of course the cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. We are closing in on under 80 laps to go here. It is Boyd Hogan, your race leader, followed by Clayton Hoffman and Logan Helton, your top three. But your championship competitors sit as follows. First, second, Vincent Arthur is running fifth. Ralph Hutchinson is running in sixth position. So we have two separate battles happening right now, Briar, between the top two and the battle for fifth.
Yeah, separate battles going on all around the track. The championship four seem to be run well so far. The closest two we got is Vincent Arthur and Ralph Hutchinson as we go on board here with Logan Helton running down the number 12 of Clayton Hoffman, who is running second to Boyd Hogan. Boyd Hogan once again showing the dominance he's had in this series. Tons of wins, tons of stage wins, and a lot of speed coming out of that number 96 machine. Good on him to do well so far. He's been dominating this race as usual. I'm sure he's gonna walk away with this one. If anything happens, I'm sure he'd be devastated, but as long as everything goes right for Boyd, he'll be sitting in the catbird seat to win a championship.
Boyd Hogan, of course, part of the Legacy Esports team, and as well as they currently had one of their drivers this past week win in the eNASCAR Contender Series at Phoenix Raceway. Parker Retzlaff took home the checkered flag there. But here's the battle. Logan Helton finally gets around the 12 of Clayton Hoffman. A little bit of championship implications, possibly, as Hoffman now losing time and position on his competitor of Boyd Hogan.
Yeah, I kind of was watching the stopwatch go on there, and he has fell off a cliff. He just ran a 28.9, and that's 0.8 of a second off of what Boyd's running, and it's 0.6 of a second off of what Logan Helton has thrown down. They're running ones and threes. He ran the 9, and it showed. He flew by him like a Jeff Bezos rocket ship. You see the 63. He's dipped. He's pulling away, doing everything he can. That time by, he kind of settled out. Hoffman was able to get back to the 2s, but those tires are really starting to squeal.
They are starting to squeal indeed, and hopefully Clayton can find a way to gather it back up and make up some ground here. But we still have pit stops happening a little bit later in this run here. Ralph Hutchinson from Lockdown Racing in, of course, that number 51, trying to see if he can catch up to Vincent Arthur to at least get another position and work his way up through the field. There you see him on screen, trying to remain focused and get that run he needs to catch up to Vincent Arthur and Braxton Deweese.
Ralph Hutchinson running in the 6th position there. doing his best. Like you said, he looks focused, just doesn't have the speed right now with 73 laps to go. The interesting thing that I've been thinking of is what kind of strategy will the other championship drivers try to use to try and get around Boyd here as we work 72 to go. I don't know if 2 tires would work. I would assume not, but you never know. I believe I just heard an engine pop somewhere. Not sure who that was, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of strategy is going to be played here by the Championship 4 towards the end of this race.
Looking through the field right now, no one's really fallen back through the field as you're on board with Clayton Hoffman, who is definitely sawing at that wheel, struggling to maintain control of his Chevrolet Camaro, keeping pace with Logan Helton in the 63, the Nexus Esports driver, as they come off of turn 2, drifting almost out of the corner. Gonna have to hang on to that car a little while longer there, Terry.
Yeah, man, these tires are really falling off the pace. I've been paying attention to the 12's lap times, and he's been consistent. He's getting faster up there, but the thing is he's wore them out. I mean, he's been all over the place. He had a good start, was able to stay within a second of Boyd, but once the run progressed, we watched Helton just come through here, doing everything he can. They've been sawing at this wheel the entire time. It's like they don't know that the price of lumber is like $20 a sheet. They're just cutting through it like it's nothing. We're gonna see pit stops happen as we come down to 69 laps to go, and it couldn't come at a better time for Arthur or Hutchinson, because they're desperately in need of something.
As we watch here, working their way through the middle of turns 1 and 2, it is still the battle for second between, of course, none other than Logan Helton and Clayton Hoffman. These two have had a couple of wins as well. Of course, we talked about Hoffman, who picked up his only win this season over at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Logan Helton has picked up a couple of more. He's won, of course, at Bristol, Watkins Glen, as well as Bristol Dirt and the Martinsville circuit. And Logan was one of the strong competitors as well this season, but unfortunately just missed the final 4 by a small margin. And of course, he has to be kicking himself a little bit prior to miss out on this amazing opportunity.
Oh yeah, definitely kicking himself. Like I was saying, having a little bit of a tough time there the past couple of races, and just missed out on a chance at a title with a strong run, as we're watching the battle for 4th place starting to heat up here with Braxton DeWeese and Vincent Arthur and Ralph Hutchinson. A little bit of a gap between all 3 of these drivers, but I'm sure when pit stops come around, it's going to close up and see who comes out on the top, or better end of that, I should say.
Braxton DeWeese, of course, is one of the rookie competitors this season. Made his debut, of course, at the Bristol Night Race not too long ago, and has had some very great runs, holding off championship competitor Vincent Arthur, who is right behind him in the 5th position. Another 7/10 of a second back, you'll find Ralph Hutchinson, as these 3 will try to make pace and close the gap between them and the 3rd place competitor of Clayton Hoffman.
I'm still surprised at the speed difference that we're seeing here between what Boyd's doing and the other championship contenders. It's like he's on a rock all by himself doing his own thing, and everybody else is just trying to catch up. We see right here with what Arthur's doing. I mean, he's having a great conversation. I really wish I could read lips, because I'm sure it's a good one, as he's giving us a good little thumbs up there. Maybe he's listening. Vincent Arthur from Terry Radford here, as he smiles because he knows that he is listening to us. Man, tighten up. You got to get in this championship run. I know that most people don't want to talk about it, but when you get down pit road, you need to make some adjustments. Throw something big at it. I mean, slap it on the butt a little bit and get it to cry. Run up there and wreck him. Do something.
Brian, I'm going to come to you right quick on that matter. Could we see some interesting strategy calls by some of our other championship competitors? Boyd really has the room to make some adjustments and maybe pull away, but for the most part, someone like Hoffman, Arthur, or Hutchinson especially need to find some way to break this stranglehold that Boyd Hogan has.
Yeah, they definitely need to find a way to get around Boyd. I'm not so sure when green flag stops are going to happen, but depending on how late in the run it might be, I'm sure these drivers might consider taking 2 tires, but as I was saying earlier, I'm not so sure if that's going to work with how loose these race cars are going to be. If they end up taking 2 tires, they're definitely going to have to make some kind of adjustments to counter that.
Certainly is. Let's head on down to our Capital Auto Group pit report from Strict Pulsatrix.
Well, I've been talking around the pits to try and get a peace of mind from all the drivers, and the big story that they've all had to say is the right rear is gone on these tires. Gone on these cars, rather. And the big thing is that we're going to be seeing cars starting to come in about 2 laps time, maybe 3. And one of the biggest things here as well is a lot of them are going to be going for 4. I didn't hear anybody going for 2, as we do see the number 30 now coming in of Shorba here. And we're going to be seeing a lot of other cars following suit right now.
Here comes, in fact, one of our championship competitors, Vincent Arthur. He'll come down pit road to get his service required, as we'll see when the rest of the field will make his way down pit road. Vincent Arthur taking a quick stretch as he gets his pit stop complete. The Great Lakes Motorsports driver pulls off the racing circuit and is back out onto the track quickly. And here comes your race leader, Boyd Hogan, possibly to put him a lap down here. Vincent Arthur now already 1 lap down. He's got to gain at least another to stay the first car 1 lap down, as we now watch and wait to see who will be the next driver to blink to come down pit road. Boyd Hogan approaching pit entry. He's going to stay out another lap.
I will tell you that Strix is a bigger hit than Whitney Houston back in her day. Man, we love the Owl. We're glad he brought it out tonight. Boyd Hogan's going to stay out until, Boyd Hogan feels like coming in. Wear the tires off of it. The best part about this race is, he's already 6 seconds up. So you're not going to make 6 seconds up just by pitting early. And if Boyd sees Hoffman or he sees Hutchison come down pit road, then he might get a little scared.
We will have to see what happens here as we keep an eye on none other than Boyd Hogan, your championship leader and race leader. Here you're on board with Clayton Hoffman. No other drivers yet inside the top 8 have yet to pit. Vincent Arthur is the first car who has made his pit stop, who has now back and rejoined the racing circuit. He sits in 9th, 1 lap down. We'll have to wait and see who else will come down pit road next time by, Briar. And how will this affect some of the drivers' mentality when they notice one of their competitors has come down pit road? And will they be keeping a track on their lap times to know, hey, do I need to come down pit road now, as Clayton Hoffman has made his choice to come down pit road?
Yeah, definitely. You got to keep an eye on your competitors, especially the Championship 4. You got to keep an eye on all of them. You got to kind of make your move based on what they're doing. If you want to short pit and try and jump someone, then you might be able to do that. But with being Boyd here leading the race, you just want to kind of sit back and let everyone play their cards, because you have the advantage. You have the long run car. You have the clean air. You're leading the race. You've dominated. So just need to sit back, relax, and see what you can do to just try and make sure they don't get around you in any way, shape, or form. The only thing you need to worry about is a yellow shaking things up.
Yellow flag could change everything here tonight, as we are closing in on just about 55 laps to go. Here comes Boyd Hogan across the line, waiting for seeing if any more cars have come down pit road. Vincent Arthur is still the fastest car on the track, who has completed his second pit stop, or his third pit stop of the night, as Brandon Davis will now come down pit road in the 91. He sits in 7th position.
Yeah, we got the commentator curse trying to come into effect, but it ain't working here tonight. I don't think Boyd wants to see this caution flag come out. Well, you know what, honestly, let's just be truthful here. I'm sure he wouldn't mind it coming. I don't think he wants his 6.6 second lead to dwindle away, but he has majority of the field trapped a lap down due to them coming down pit road. John Theodore is the last one that has stayed out so far in the 6th place position. So really, he's got all but one of his championship contenders trapped a lap. So if he makes them take the wave around, it sits in the catbird seat for him, because they're going to have about 10 or 15 laps if we were to get the caution flag. He's gonna set sail and sail away, like the great song says.
Well, let's come sail away a little bit more as we watch the field work their way out across the start-finish line. There you see Arthur along with Hoffman get around the 15 of Braxton Deweese for that 3rd position. Of course, they're on 1 lap down, but they're now going to try to close the gap between them as well as Boyd Hogan, who is just up the road by about 11 seconds. But they also got to make sure they take care of their tires. They can push the car to try to get back on the lead lap, which could work, but if caution comes out prior, how does that affect the entire strategy of what they just did?
Definitely throw a wrench in their plans. That's the last thing you want to see when you're pitting a little bit earlier than you want to, is seeing the yellow flag come out and maybe ruining your race. You never know, as we got the 15 of Braxton DeWeese hitting pit road from P number 3, I believe that was. But yeah, you definitely don't want to see the yellow flag come out while you're a lap down and not in the lucky dog position. It would be dreadful to see someone in the championship 4 not get that lap back because of a yellow that happened under pit cycles. It's the worst feeling for sure.
It certainly is. 4 cars yet to pit: Boyd Hogan, Logan Helton, another championship competitor, Ralph Hutchinson, and Joseph McWhorter have yet to come down pit road. As Braxton DeWeese has come to his pit box, he'll go up on the jacks and get his service required completed. As we watch throughout the field, looking through the pit times and the pit stop times for some of these drivers, fastest pit stop of the race goes to the 63 of Logan Helton with a 13.8 second pit stop. Terry, the importance of a pit crew having a fast pit stop for your driver is so critical, but these drivers can make adjustments on their cars to be able to have that fast of a pit stop.
Yeah, and it looks like that he didn't really have to take a whole lot, but it's crucial. If, you know, the way Breyer said, as the 96 comes down pit lane, and man, he is flying. This could be a big story here, because I don't think he was all the way down to pit road speed. He definitely locked those things up as he was coming down here. We'll have to get a pit report from Strix here momentarily to see if Boyd actually made it to the mandated speed. But if we were to get the yellow flag that we've been talking about this race, it's going to be crucial to see who can come down here in the money stop and put themselves in a position to get it. As right now, Ralph Hutchinson is going to take command of the championship lead. If the yellow does come out, this could shake a lot of things up.
This would change everything as we watch our former race leader Boyd Hogan complete his pit stop. He's going around on the other side, and he is away with a beautiful 14.2 second stop, as he will try to see if he can stay on the lead lap. He will be put 1 lap down, the first car 1 lap down, as Vincent Arthur will get himself back on the lead lap in 4th position, as well as Clayton Hoffman, who sits in 3rd. Ralph Hutchinson, along with Logan Helton, have yet to come down pit road. Helton still out on the racetrack right now, working his way across the start-finish line. Under 50 laps to go here at the Phoenix Raceway. Less than 50 laps left in the season, as we now go to our pit reporter, Strick Pulsatrix.
So I do have an update on Boyd Hogan. We saw him entering pits quite hot, but he says no penalties. So it looks like he got it in just under the wire, or might have gotten away with something there, but it did look like he was going to be caught for speeding on pit lane there, but no penalty for Boyd Hogan. He's still full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead indeed, as we see race leader Logan Helton along with the 51 of Ralph Hutchinson coming down pit road to complete their stops here today. Logan, of course, just now entering his pit box, and with that, that will put now new race leader Clayton Hoffman back at the point here today. And as he works his way through, that'll move, of course, Vincent Arthur up to 2nd, Boyd Hogan to 3rd, who is now has the fresher tires out of the 3 drivers, and he will make short work of the 24 of Vincent Arthur.
Yeah, short work, and he's gone. And Hoffman, I believe Hoffman was the first one to come down pit lane on lap 169. Yeah, so I mean, I was wrong. And that's the first time I'll admit it on the air. I was wrong. He made up a ton of time. Clayton was able to get out, have a beautiful pit stop. His pit lap time was 53, and this is the in lap, out lap, and pit stop altogether was 53.7 seconds. And he's gone. He's making it a work of it. And now Clayton's going to have to hope for the yellow flag to come out, because Boyd's going to catch him very easily with the fresher tires. So hopefully Clayton gets what he's looking for, and we can get an even cycle of tires out here.
We will find out soon enough here as we are closing in on 40 laps to go here in the race. Boyd Hogan has dropped that gap down to about 2.8 seconds between him and Hoffman as they work their way down the back straightaway heading into turns 3 and 4. Off of turn 4, Clayton Hoffman will flick off another lap. 41 laps to go here at the Phoenix Raceway, and a lot of great things probably happening next year, of course, in 2022. Of course, a new car with the next-gen car. Brian, I want to come to you. The importance of switching over into a new car, the different things that iRacing has provided in order for us to see how the next-gen car feels, and as well as what these drivers need to think about when getting ready for the new season.
Yeah, the next-gen car being released really early is definitely going to help going into next year, having the advantage of looking into the garage and all this and that. Everyone's got the new cars, so I'm sure after this race is done, people might take a little bit of a break or might just go ahead and dive right into it and figure out the next-gen car and never know. There's official series on iRacing that you can run with the open setups and next-gen cars, so I'm sure some of them will try that out at certain tracks and see what they can figure out. Maybe they can hit on something before the season starts and carry that into next year. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a big change from the Gen 6 car to the next gen car for everyone on the service, I believe, especially in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. That's definitely going to be a big change for them up there. Competitive racing, for sure, I think that next gen car is going to deliver, but it's going to be interesting to see who can hit on it and who cannot.
It certainly will, and a lot of excitement heading into the 2022 season all around the world of iRacing when it comes to the NASCAR side of things with that next-gen car, as we have the battle for the race lead now. Hogan and Hoffman, this is championship implications down into turns 3 and 4. Hogan has the advantage by a nose off of turn 4, and he will complete the pass and be back up where he started in the race lead. Will Hoffman respond as they enter into turns 1 and 2? He tries to keep pace, but his tires are not that fresh compared to your new race leader, Boyd Hogan. About a 10-lap difference is so critical of the fresher tires to come into play, and Hoffman is now paying for it now.
He's paying for it big time right here. I mean, he passed him and then he's gone. He automatically opened almost a 1 second lead, as right now it's sitting at 0.6 of a second, now stretching it on past 7. It's interesting to see that the differing strategies, and somebody had to play something. You can't sit here and follow Boyd the entire time and think you're going to change the results at the end of the day. That early into a run, coming down pit road and hoping that you were going to be able to make something happen was good thinking on Huffman's part, but he needed help. He needed a caution. He needed something happen to Boyd. Anything that can slow the momentum of the 96, it didn't work. Put him back to P number 1, and now it's pray for a caution again and hope we restack it. And now you have 1, 2, 3 championship contenders. Somebody's going to have to get up there if we do get the yellow flag and just take the back bumper off of him to slow him down.
Strick, what's it looking like down on pit road?
Well, I had a quick talk with, very quick talk with Hoffman down there in the number 12 machine, asked him what his plan was, and he said coming out of the pits, he went pretty hard when he took 4 tires. And at this point, he's mostly just saving his equipment and, as we've been saying, hoping for a caution. It just seems that Hogan passed him very quickly, and Hoffman stated that, yeah, he just kind of gave him a little bit of a fight, tried to get him to use his tires, but at this point, all Hoffman is doing is just sitting back, trying to save as much of his equipment as possible, and hopefully that yellow flag will bunch up the field again.
Hoffman, of course, being one of the more competitive drivers out of the championship 4, excluding Boyd Hogan, your race leader and championship leader. He's been running inside the top 3 for a majority of tonight's race, as you are on board with, I believe this is going to be Vincent Arthur in the 3rd position, trying to hold off the 63 of Logan Helton as they work down the front straightaway. Heading into turn 1, Helton takes a peek. He'll show his nose to the inside as we watch these two battle for that 3rd position on the podium.
Yeah, we talked about it all race long, about non-championship contenders racing the guys that are going for the championship. But that right there was just textbook. You see what Logan was able to do. He pitted lap 181. He's on fresh tires. He's picking them up, putting them down. He's the fastest car on the racetrack by a mile. He is doing a fantastic job, 1/10 faster than the race leader, but he's 0.5 of a second faster than Clayton Hoffman. He's going mowing through the field. We could see a potential upset here if we continuously stay green. Logan Hilton might be the guy that we need to be paying attention to.
See what he can do here as the laps continue to wind down. 30 laps to go here for tonight's race as they work their way through. You're on board with Joseph McWhorter, who sits right behind Jacob Shorba. Of course, these two a long-standing history in the series as they work their way through. Here comes McWhorter to the inside of Shorba. Side-by-side battle for 7th as they'll stay side-by-side off of turn number 2. Give McWhorter the position, up to 7th position.
Up to 7th position, indeed. McWhorter having a strong run tonight. Boyd working around some lap traffic. That's something we haven't really talked about tonight with having only a little over 15 drivers as he's working around the number 91 Podium Esports Ford Mustang. Gives him a little key up on the microphone to say, hey, thanks for letting me by, and I'm going to try and go win this race. But Boyd, again, just, into the wall there, 91, I believe. But as I was saying, Boyd cruising along right now, just hoping for no yellow. Shouldn't be able to cruise his way onto a championship unless something wild happens to him, but once again showing his dominance.
Certainly showing his talent, his dominance, a great drive indeed for him as he works his way around. That is one of the Davis brothers as he continues to pull away from the field. Now a gap of 4.3 seconds over Clayton Hoffman as he continues to pull away down into turns 3 and 4.
Man, he is absolutely putting on a show. He's moved it to 5 seconds on second place, 4 seconds between second and third. Logan Hilton's climbing into that. He's ticking it down. It's dwindling ever so slightly, but if you're in Boyd Hogan's head right now, 26 laps to go, he can start to smell the bubbly. It's getting to going. He can hear the lid start to fizzle a little bit. He's ready to win the championship. I think he's been ready for a while now to come out here and show what he's done. He's won 18 races, 18 of them. That is half of the races he's come out here and just put on a show for all the fans, for all the drivers to watch. And if he comes back next season to this series, that's the benchmark. That's the person that you have to beat each and every week. I wouldn't say he's the modern day Dale Earnhardt in this league, but he's very good at. Man, look at this. All the onboards here.
Take a look at that. Some great VR action by the Davis brothers of Steven and Brandon as they will showcase their talents as they try to keep up pace. Of course, both of them running in and around the 10th and 11th position here tonight. Great drive by the two brothers.
Wonderful drive from the two brothers here. Relax. And if I was some of the drivers, though, on track, I'd be trying to throw out my virtual water bottle, just trying to get a yellow or something to happen here. Race has been pretty spread out and no action, not too much, I would say, but got some battles here and there. But for the championship for Hoffman, Arthur, Hutchison, definitely trying to throw out the water bottles there to try and get some kind of yellow there.
Certainly trying to here, but with 23 laps to go, it's going to be a little difficult for anything to happen here as we watch this race come to a close here for the season finale. Boyd Hogan has pulled away now 5.5 seconds ahead of Clayton Hoffman as we work our way through the field. Keeping an eye on a couple of battles. There's the battle for the 5th position between Ralph Hutchison and Braxton DeWeese. Those two are in an intense battle for the final spot in the top 5.
You see what Ralph Hutchison's doing there. I mean, virtually hasn't been contending for the championship, and you can just see a little bit of disappointment and frustration on his face that he came in here, had a rough outing at Martinsville, comes here tonight, not the showing he's looked for. I feel bad because he's been one of the contenders. He's been one of the best drivers all season long, and right now he just finds himself in right now in a desperate situation that he has to pray for the yellow to come out. He has to pray for something different to happen, a miracle of sorts, because he's been the guy that's been on the right-hand side of our screen a lot here tonight. Very few between if we've seen him above Arthur or Hoffman. We haven't seen very many people above Boyd here tonight. So a tough outing for him, but he's going to have an off season to regroup what he's got to do, get his team together, organize another run in 2022. I just feel bad for the guys that are sitting here looking up 6:14 and 20-something seconds away from the leader.
It's going to be interesting indeed to see how these drivers are going to look ahead to 2022 with the new cars, a bunch of new tracks coming on to the schedule as well. But as we watch here and keep an eye on this battle for the 5th position here, Deweese trying to hold off Ralph Hutchinson for that 5th position as they work their way off of turn number 2. And now on board with the 27 of John Theodore, who is running in 9th position. A quiet night for John. Had a couple of close calls in the early stages, but for the driver of that number 27, started in 9th, has stayed in 9th. And looking through the field right now, your biggest mover is the 30 of Jacob Shorba, started 16th, running in 8th position.
I hear that John Theodore guy's kind of a big deal. He does a lot of good work on and off the racetrack, but it's good to see him. He's been consistent. I mean, like you said, started 9th, sitting in 9th, just got passed right there by Boyd. But, I mean, what a showing. We're coming down to 16 laps to go, and you can't say enough of just the amazing body of work that the 96, his entire team has put together. And, man, I don't want to jinx him. I don't want to see Barney throw anything. And Boyd go back and watch. Dang, Terry really got me right there. As he gets up to Jacob Shorba, I would expect Shorba to just, move out of the way, race a lot more respectively as he does. He's just going to, work it on to the high side. But what an amazing body of work that he's been able to do. 18 wins. He's on a record of 6 in a row. This team is just a well-oiled machine, kind of like, Rowdy Energy and Kyle Busch.
Certainly indeed, as we watch them work their way through. Just closing in here under 20 laps to go, 15 laps to go to be exact. Your championship board sits as follows: Hogan first, Hoffman second, Arthur is in 4th, and Hutchinson rounds out in 6th position as they come back across the start-finish line here. Of course, Phoenix Raceway has provided some great, memorable racing action throughout its decades of racing, even with the multiple transitionings of how this circuit was made. Of course, there you see in the background the Rattlesnake Hill, where you can get a great vantage point of some great, memorable racing, whether it be NASCAR, USAC, or IndyCar, or even sports car racing, who made its debut a couple of decades ago at this circuit. But as we watch here, the championship finale working their way through turns 1 and 2. Here comes Boyd Hogan. Pretty much has lapped all the way up to 7th position. He's going to try to see if he can put Joseph McWhorter in the 32 Reaper Speed Lab Chevrolet a lap down as they work their way down the back straightaway.
Working their way down into turn number 3 here, Boyd. Working on 12 to go now as he crosses the line. As Terry said, 18 wins, a lot of wins there for Boyd. I think this race is just a cherry on top for the season. Obviously, winning the championship is a huge accomplishment for him. But like I said, a cherry on top for that team over there at Legacy Esports and Reaper Speed Lab. But as we're on board here with Ralph Hutchinson, trying to fight his way forward still, no give up in him. 12 to go here, trying to get around Braxton Deweese here for a 5th place finish.
McWhorter trying to focus, trying to find a way around Braxton Deweese. Can't really make it happen at the moment, but he is definitely trying to get focused. He has a little bit of something in his eye. He is hungry. He wants to at least get in that top 5 and maybe hope for a caution in the final stages, but so far just cannot seem to pop that air bubble around to get around Braxton Deweese.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese has been the underdog here tonight. We didn't expect to see him. I mean, when we're sitting around, we're having our meetings before the race, nobody said, man, I think the 15 of Braxton DeWeese is going to be one to keep their eye on. But he's setting P2 for majority of the race. As we look right here at the 51 of Hutchinson, he's trying everything that he can, but he just can't seem to get the speed to get up there. 10 laps to go here, the season finale. Man, what a season it has been, and 9 to go now. For all these championship 4 drivers, there's something to hang your hat on, that you can come out here, you can race with the best of the best, and you ended up in the championship contention. You ended up it being a name at the end of the season. But for this 96 team, man, you just can't say enough of just how much speed he is throwing out here on this track.
As we go down to our pit reporter, Strick Pulsatrix, what do you got, Strix?
Well, I decided to talk to Boyd just one last time before the end of the race, asked him if there is a caution at this stage of the race, do you stay out or do you go in? And he said, you absolutely have to get tires. Absolutely 100% at this point. And furthermore, I asked him 2 or 4. And he said, most drivers could maybe make it 2 if they did the right adjustments. But he felt that nobody on the field could actually make those adjustments. So he's confident that he's able to keep this lead here, even if it goes yellow, because everybody's going to be going for 4 tires.
Very confident indeed with his car, and he definitely can back it up with how well he has been driving all night long. He's now caught up to the back bumper of Joseph McWhorter as we're on board with the 63 of Logan Helton, who is trying to see if he can get around Clayton Hoffman.
Man, those are bold words right there from Boyd Hogan. That's how you add some salt to the wound. But for Logan Helton, it's all about the pride game. He wants to get the P2 position, say that he finished ahead of Clayton Hoffman, and he would have, if he was in the championship contention, would have been right there with Boyd fighting for it as well. But look at his hands, just the looseness off the corner. He's giving it all he has.
He certainly is. The Milton, Florida driver is giving it all she's got here in the closing stages. Barney the Flagman just gave them the high five as they come across the line. 5 laps to go here at Phoenix. 5 laps to go left in the 2021 MSRA Premier Series here tonight as they come through the final few set of corners here back into turn 1. 4 laps to go.
4 laps to go here as we pretty much ran out of things to say. We keep talking about yellows possibly happening, or just Boyd dominating this season and this race in general. But as we got a battle here starting to heat up between Logan Helton and Clayton Hoffman, as Terry said, I'm sure Helton would like to try and get around and finish ahead of Hoffman, just to say, yeah, I finished second in the championship race. I could have had a shot maybe if I was in the championship, and try and carry some momentum in to next season, see what he does there in that number 63 machine. As he's definitely trying to make it happen there, getting around Hoffman. Maybe they get to racing and the yellow happens between these two.
We'll have to keep an eye on that as we watch our race leader Boyd Hogan get the popsicle sticks from Barney the Flagman. 2 laps to go for your race leader as he continues to dive it back down into turns 1 and 2. Watching the battle for second between Hoffman and Helton. Helton is trying to find his way around, but so far is not close enough to make the pass. It's 0.2 of a second now between the two. Meanwhile, here comes Boyd Hogan out of turn 4. Here is your Canterbury RV, 1 to go. Barney the Flagman gives the white flag as they head back into turns 1 and 2. He has conquered and dominated this season. 18 wins. He dominated with 6 races in a row with the number 1 spot, as well as multiple other dominating performances all season long. Coming out of the final corner, Boyd Hogan and Legacy Esports win the race and win the championship here tonight.
What a dominating performance. And I mean, it goes without saying, when he wins big. He comes out here, he puts on a show 9 seconds was this gap from him to Clayton Hoffman. And I mean, what can you say that we haven't already said? This man is on a tear, 7 in a row. That's more hits than Vanilla Ice, MC Hammer, and a lot of other one-hit wonders combined.
It certainly is, as Boyd Hogan in that Curb Record Chevrolet Camaro will make his way down to celebrate a championship and burn it down on the front straightaway to enjoy this victory here tonight. As we watch him celebrate this victory, we will soon give you your finishing order here tonight.
Like we said earlier, cherry on top for that team. Wonderful season, wonderful race for Boyd. My congrats goes out to him and that team. Wonderful work all year. It's cool to watch his dominance just from the Roval to this finale race here in Phoenix, calling those races and seeing Boyd do his thing out there on the track.
And one of the new features here with this Phoenix Raceway is you can actually go to Victory Lane and park your car. So we're kind of wondering if he's going to go ahead and try to do that, as he'll come down the back straightaway and come down pit road. We'll see if he actually makes his way over to the Victory Lane and park it on the Victory Lane section. As he makes his way, yes he will, and pulls it up right there and will park it at the Phoenix Raceway Victory Lane and celebrate here tonight.
I'm here. I'm jumping out with a big old bottle of beer. I'm burning it down right there as we see the amazing camera work. Just utter and total dominance here. You could not touch him, as MC Hammer would say. There's no touching what you can't catch. He put on a smoke show, and there was nothing anybody could do about it.
Certainly nothing at all, as we will now give you your final finishing result of tonight's race. Of course, it is none other than Legacy Esports' very own Boyd Hogan who takes home the win and the championship here tonight. Clayton Hoffman will come home second, followed by Logan Helton in third. Vincent Arthur will come home in fourth, your championship competitor, with Braxton DeWeese rounding out your top five. Sixth position, the last car on the lead lap, is your final championship competitor, Ralph Hutchinson. First car one lap down, Joseph McWhorter in seventh. Jacob Shorba will come home 8th, John Theodore will come home 9th, Brandon Davis rounds out your top 10.
Over in 11th, you have Stephen Davis. He's 3 laps down. Then you got Zach York, John Mullins, Chris Severa, Christopher Hill, Liam Sheen, Dylan Hervanton, and then Tommy Gossett is on the last place there, 226 laps down.
And with that, we will now have the chance to speak with your race winner as well as your champion. Give him a few minutes to get himself all lined up, ready to go, as we will celebrate his victory, his championship, and the year of Hogan, as he will be able to celebrate this 19 wins, a championship. Very exciting, as well as a very strong season across all of iRacing, as we now get Boyd Hogan all hooked up, ready to go. Boyd Hogan, you are the winner and champion. Your thoughts on this entire season and this entire MSRA Premier Series?
Well, I got to thank everybody at Legacy for the entire season. Jared Crawford, Christopher Hill, Randall Falks, all the Coke guys this year, Vicente, Jake, Ray, Garrett, all the effort, all these cars have been, they've been awesome, and it's made a lot of the year pretty easy and really fun. So can't thank them enough for all the work they put in every week, and Christopher Pfeffer for turning all the laps he has all year as well. He's kind of helped me out during the A Open portion of the schedule. So shout out to him as well. Yeah, it's been a long season, obviously, and I mean, this is probably the longest week we've had, really. there's so many things that can go wrong on a championship night, especially with having the season we did and the expectations everybody had for us coming in here. It was like one little mistake from anybody else, or one little slip up, whether it's technical or just my own mistake. It could have been anything, but we avoided it all and got it done.
Your thoughts now as we progress through the rest of this season or the rest of into 2022, a new car, a lot of possible new competitors who are coming up through the series. What offers and challenges do you maybe have for those coming up, as well as with this new car?
I mean, I don't know whether the new car will be enjoyable to drive or not, so I'll kind of wait to figure out what the plan is. Obviously, we got to build cup cars and we got to build trucks all year anyway, so it'll probably be one of the two. But yeah, the more people we can get in here. I mean, I started racing in this in the first place because the racing's good, and obviously you get long green flag runs. I mean, tonight was, championship night. There's a lot of people who showed up for it, and I mean, we went green the entire way. I don't think we had a caution, aside from the stages. So the racing's really, really good, and you can kind of come out and have fun with these guys. And there's a number of these guys in this league that are really good, and trying to get on better teams and whatnot. And I think when they do, you'll start recognizing the names. And honestly, I'd love to see Breyer come run with us. I'd love to see a couple more, Jonathan Delaney, some more guys from their side of things. And I don't know, hopefully Logan can get some of the Nexus guys in. But overall, the more the merrier. It's a lot of fun to race, and I'm glad to be part of it. I also want to shout out Kevin Kirchar, Blackstone Management, Curb Records champion, Reaper Speed Lab, everybody that's been part of Legacy all year. JD for the paints. I heard you guys were pretty hyped on the Halloween paint a little while ago. That was Jimmy Collins, but JD Laird for the badass cars every week that look like some of the best on the sim. So gotta thank JD as well.
That is your 2021 champion and race winner, Boyd Hogan. He's going to go and enjoy this one for sure. As we now turn it over to Terry Radford, who is talking to second place finisher in the championship as well as in the race, Clayton Hoffman.
Well, Clayton Hoffman, Cookeville, Tennessee native, I might add. Great state to live in, and what an incredible run that the University of Tennessee is doing right now. Second in the championship tonight, second in the race. What could you have done to maybe get up there, rattle Boyd's cage? And what was with the strategy? What played into that?
I don't think there's anything I could have done to Boyd. He's just too fast on the long runs like he has been all year. I'm just a little bit off, and that just builds up over time when you have these long green flag runs. The only thing I could have really done is had an incredible restart, and for him to mess up on a restart for me to get that clean air and try to use that to my advantage. But it's pretty much up to him to lose it, and he didn't make a mistake.
If we would have got a hypothetical caution, put yourself in the virtual reality world of what could have happened. Would you have raced him any different, knowing that it could have been your last opportunity to be there on the same set of tires? Would you maybe just gave him a nudge? Would you have wrecked him, or would you have just simply raced him the same way you did with a ton of respect and honor?
I'd have raced him the same way I raced him when he got by me. Obviously, if we were on the same tires, I'd like to think it would have been as quick, but he's just so fast, and I'm sure he's a lot better on the bottom line than I was. So we probably would have been side by side for a lap or two longer than the one corner. But I think, unless something happened, one of us made a mistake and we hit each other, I wouldn't have intentionally done anything like that.
Well, new car, new season next year. Do you see yourself in the same position that you were tonight, championship 4? Will it make a big difference going from these cars to there? And how do you position yourself to be right back here in Phoenix next year?
With the new car, the 750 package actually doesn't feel too bad. It seems like, at least for right now, with the build they have out, it's all comes down to tire wear. But as far as the 550 package, it's kind of a coin flip. I haven't run it in a while, but the last time I ran it, it was pretty pretty drafty, so it's kind of more of a Talladega Daytona type of race. So we'll see what changes they've made to it. I'll probably work on it some in the off season, but for right now, I'm probably just going to relax a bit.
You got any sponsors out there? I know you ran a blank car here tonight, but you got anybody you want to give a shout out to for ending the season?
Yeah, thanks to all the guys at Go Racing. I used to be a part of. I was with them pretty much the whole season. Shout out to Kenny, Chris, Brian. Those guys helped me a lot during the season. And then, I just joined Rocket recently, so I didn't have a paint ready to go tonight, unfortunately. But thanks to them for having me. And thank you guys for the great broadcast. You guys do a great job. I know Josh isn't here tonight, but I want to thank him as well. He did an excellent job all year.
We do love Josh, and we love you. Second on the track, but number one in our hearts. Clayton Hoffman, you have a good rest of the night and a better off season.
Thank you, guys.
Clayton Hoffman coming home in second as we now speak to our third place finisher, Logan Helton with Briar LaPrade.
Logan Helton, driver of the number 63, Nexus Esports machine. Looks like, well, from the commentator booth, looks like the car was fast. How'd it feel out there?
The car felt great. Can't thank Nexus Esports enough for helping me out this entire week. I had a lot of fun battling Clayton there most of the race. You probably can't hear me very well because I'm not talking to my microphone, so that was a mistake. Anyways, but other than that, car felt pretty good.
For sure, look fast out there. I'm sure it was great to have a good run after the past couple of weeks not having the greatest of runs, but anyone you'd like to thank for the season?
I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting a few of these races. I'd like to thank MSRA and all their sponsors, if I can go find it this time, because last time I had trouble doing that. Here it is. Fantastic Sam's, Thornton, Colorado, Shorba's Racing Graphics, HutchCo, FSM Customs, Dirty Air 13, Capital Auto Group, Strunk PC, and Canterbury RV. Those are just the short list of everyone that helped out through this entire season. I'd like to thank Nexus Esports once again, Splash and Go Graphics for this awesome paint scheme, Patrick Moose for helping me out past couple weeks. I can't think of anybody else. Anybody that wants to be thanked, they can be thanked.
Absolutely. And one more question before you go. How do you feel about the next-gen car going into next season? How do you think the racing will be, and how do you think building the car is going to be for next year?
Well, I personally have not tried building a setup for them yet, just because I've been focused on this car and goofing off because I'm a child. I think... thank you very much, Ryan. I don't know. I've lost my train of thought. Give me a second. I think it's fun. There you go. Let's not be controversial this time. I think it's fun.
Absolutely. Well, good run tonight. Hopefully we'll see you next season. I know Boyd said he wants to see me and a couple of Lockdown Racing members and a couple of your guys over there at Nexus Esports run next season. I'm thinking about it, deciding. Got to think about my options for next season. So I'd hopefully maybe we'll see us racing on track next season together. But we'll see how that goes.
Oh, absolutely. I love to see everyone out here running MSRA. It's a great league. I have a lot of fun. Open setup really makes it different than any other league out there right now. I feel like with all the high competition like Boyd, I don't want to say me because that's rude to talk about myself. Clayton, Ralph, Vincent, Jake Shorba, all those guys just make the league super fun to race with the open setups.
Absolutely. Good run tonight, and we'll talk to you maybe in the off season or next season.
Thank you very much.
As we now move on to another championship competitor, Vincent Arthur. Vincent, decent finish in fourth, but not enough to challenge for the championship. Your emotions on tonight's race?
Very bittersweet. It's been a tough week. Lost my grandfather a couple days ago. Got the news. I was told yesterday that GLM will be shutting down operations after night. So, it's been a very emotional week, and I wanted nothing more than to go out here and get a championship. But that car wasn't really there. I mean, Rob did a great job on the box. I can't thank Jeff Souza. I can't thank him enough for putting this thing together. It wasn't there. Everything we did seemed to help it a little bit. And then, we really threw the notebook at it, trying to tighten it up, trying to get any rear grip into the thing we could at the end. And it somehow went the opposite direction, and we were looser than we were before. So it's just unfortunate. I can't thank all my guys enough. This has been an amazing year. To have the whole year with one team, especially in iRacing, is it's something special. So I got a good group of guys around me. Unfortunately, that door's closing, but I'm sure another one will open here soon. Been a great year. I think we had speed, beat Boyd a couple times straight up. 6 wins, can't complain with that. So just a lot of momentum. We just didn't have it at the end of the year, and that's when he needed it most. So we'll try to figure out what we're doing this off season, and we look forward to the next year.
Well, our thoughts go out to you, Vincent, for your loss, and we hope to see you at the next season with some better opportunities in 2022. That's Vincent Arthur coming home in 4th position, 3rd in the championship. And we'll now turn it back over to Terry Radford, who is speaking with our 4th finisher in the championship, finished 6th tonight, Ralph Hutchinson.
Well, Ralph, I know it wasn't the night that you were looking for. We saw the looks on your face throughout the race. You just looked disappointed. We started the race. You were one of the guys that was trailing all race long. You finished 4th in the points, and you finished 6th tonight. Just walk through the level of emotions that you took as you came in here this evening.
Well, first and foremost, I've got a few things I want to say before I get too carried away. Congratulations to Boyd, deserving champion, of course. Flawless season. I want to thank my amazing race team, Lockdown Racing. What an awesome group of people to work with. Fun to be around. So many awesome team partners. Fantastic Sams, MPI, Sparko, Dude Wipes. There's just so many cool things that Anthony brings to the table over there. But all right, that out of the way. The crummy feeling was knowing I had a car that, all the way through practice, all the testing, raw speed was there. It was a car that could compete with Clayton and Boyd. I can't even describe how bad Dirty Air was today. You couldn't even get to somebody's rear bumper to get them loose or move them or do anything. And there's so much grip on the surface up top. I was running a diamond most of the day. Guys were running the middle. Guys would dive the bottom. There was just so much even grip that qualifying almost decided this race today. There was really no big shake-up caution, no real opportunity to gain track position. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like every restart I was in the wrong line, couldn't get going. It was just one of those deals. Just could do nothing in Dirty Air the entire race.
Well, Ralph and I, we saw it just through the race, how it was so tough to pass, and you alluded to it, being trapped in lap traffic and in Dirty Air and all that. But you gain yourself some momentum. You were in the championship 4. You go into the next gen cars. There's something to hang your hat down with the Lockdown Racing team going into the next gen and 2022. Are we going to see you come out next year and what you call the Babe Ruth shot that you're going to be in the championship for next season?
I'm not ready to make that commitment yet as far as what my focus will be next year. The main thing for sure is going to be the 2022 Road to Pro Series. That'll be my main focus. Now, as far as this league, it's an awesome league put together by awesome people. Jacob Shorba, Matt Knight. There's so many people. If I do league race next year, it'll be here, and I'll be giving it my best swing. And so, to be determined.
Well, Ralph, I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're talking. Colorado's a beautiful state. I hope you enjoy it. Congratulations on making it to the championship 4. Sorry for the disappointing night, and we look forward to seeing you in 2022 with a renewed focus and energy to go out there and kick some butt.
100%. Appreciate everything you guys did all season too. It's been a year of growth for not only myself, but a lot of people in this league, from Daytona to now. So that's what I'm trying to hang my hat on and take some momentum into the off season here and put the Gen 6 away for good.
That's it. Put the Gen 6 away. Ralph Hutchinson, thank you so much for coming by, and we'll see you next season. Taylor Burris, back to you.
And as we come to a close for tonight's race, a lot of great things to look forward to in 2022, but also a lot of great storylines that happened throughout the 2021 season. But we still have a lot of racing left to go, gentlemen. And it all kicks off tomorrow night. November 7th at 9:15 is the SimMax Cup Series powered by MTI as they head to Michigan. And it starts at 9:15 on twitch.tv/Podium Esports. Then it's the greatest Monday night racing action across the entire iRacing service, and it kicks off at 7 p.m. with Monday Night Racing Road to Glory as we kick off the Cup cars at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Catch all the action on Podium Esports for the Road to Glory series presented by HutchCo Flooring, and then the big show, Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Rowdy Energy Drinks, starting at 8:10 p.m. live on twitch.tv/iRacing. Then, on Tuesday, November 9th, the eNASCAR Contender iRacing Series, you'll see Briar LaPrade competing in that, heads down to South Florida to the Homestead Miami Speedway. Catch all the action starting at 9 p.m. For those of you who are fans of sports car racing, tune in for a doubleheader week as the PCA Sim Racing Series 7 heads over across the pond to Alton Park, November 10th and 12th, starting at 8 p.m. on iRacing.com/live. Well, with that, it is time that we come to a close. We have to say a big thank you to Fantastic Sam's of Thornton, Colorado, for their support for tonight's race. Also for Jacob Shorba and everyone at the Midwest Sim Racing Association. We also have to say thank you to our colleagues here tonight. Terry Radford. Terry, final thoughts for you briefly before we go.
Big win for Boyd. Nobody could touch him, and that was one heck of a butt whooping.
Briar, final thoughts for you, and could we possibly see you behind the wheel in this series next year?
I'd love to. First of all, I just want to give a congrats to Boyd there. Dominating season, dominating race. Like I said, cherry on top for him and that team over there. But yeah, I'd like to race in this league next year. We just got to see, weigh out the options, see how busy I'm going to be next year. But this league has been fun to watch, fun to call, and I got to thank you guys for bringing me along to call these races. I never really sat here and commentated a race. I've definitely learned and seen how it is behind the scenes. And there's a lot of work that goes into this stuff. It's not as easy as you think it is. So learning a new experience is also fun. But yeah, I definitely like to come back, maybe be an in-race reporter or something, so I could do both things at once. But yeah, it's going to be fun for drivers next season. We'll see if I partake in that or not.
Well, of course, we can't say thank you enough as well for joining our broadcast here tonight. And also a big thank you to all of those behind the scenes at Podium Esports. James Pike, Cisco Scaramuza, Gary Sexton, and one of the drivers actually out on the track tonight, John Theodore. And also for the rest of our team, Ryan Bauer, our producer. Cameras provided by Dougie Beard, Cameron Aubernon on social media, and of course, our pit reporter, Strick Pulsatrick. For Briar LaPrade and Terry Radford, I am Taylor Burris. Thank you so much for watching tonight's season finale of the MSRA season finale at Phoenix. We hope to see you tomorrow night at Michigan. Good night, everyone.